Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another round of the Rugby World Cup. 8 exciting matches, all taking place over the next 4 days. This one, France versus Uruguay, the first game of round 2, like I mentioned, and actually the first match for Uruguay of their whole Rugby World Cup. Looking first of all through at how this group is sitting currently. France, they are in second after they got themselves a victory over New Zealand. Points differential currently sitting with plus 14, but it is the Italians at the top of the group. 1 win from 1, but also getting themselves that winning bonus point by scoring 4 or more tries up against the Namibians. And Uruguay sitting in the middle at the moment. They will either go up or down at the end of this game, but more than likely, the way that the odds are sitting, Uruguay will find themselves dropping just that little bit further down. But looking through at the starting lineup for the French, they've gone with a relatively new side, I guess you could say, compared to the first match up against New Zealand. It is Jean-Baptiste Gru at number 1, Pierre Bougeret, who did come off the bench in the last game. In fact, I believe he was missing from the last game. My apologies. Pieto Malvaca getting himself that chance off the bench, and El Diegri at number 3. Cameron Walkie alongside Romain Tautfifenua. So 2 big men in the lock and Joe. We're looking to enforce that physicality here up against Uruguay. Burian at number 6, Sekou Machelou, a man who I love watching for Stade Francais. And then number 8, the captain, Anthony Jalonge for this match. Luku gets a start at 9 with Hastoy at 10, so completely changed from what we did see last week when it was Dupont and Jalabert. Mo Farah keeps a spot in the midfield alongside Arthur Vincent on his outside. Villiers out on the left wing. Belbari out on the right. And then number 15, Melvin Jaminet, man who came off the bench last week, now gets himself the start here up against Uruguay. Now, a few of these players for Uruguay we have seen have little moments throughout the 7 circuit. I'm looking forward to seeing Ardio at number 6, whose name I know I just mispronounced. Echeverri at number 10 with Arata at 9. The important thing here for Uruguay is to not allow France to get on the front foot too quickly. We know that in the later stages of the game, that is when the opposition of this French side would normally start to slow down, tiring just that little bit more. But hopefully Uruguay, just like a few of the other sides throughout that first round of the Rugby World Cup, will be able to put on a decent showing early on, show everyone exactly what they can do. In the chat we have got there, won't happen, but imagine an Uruguay upset. It would certainly cause some surprises. And at the moment for this round, the closest underdog is Fiji in their game up against Australia. I believe the next after that is Japan over England. And then after that one, there are a huge amount of gaps compared to the team that is favourite and the team who is the underdog. Good morning, afternoon, evening, and good night all. Says Sighted there. And Hamish, what's up, buddy? Can Uruguay upset France in reality? You think so? Or this will be a cake in the park for France? Says Coding. I believe it will be a very easy game for the French here, but I hope Uruguay are able to show up and put it in a little bit of a fight. Show what they've been able to do on the 7 circuit. We've seen them actually cause some upsets in there, but of course with it being a little bit shorter in the format, it makes it a bit easier to be able to pace yourself throughout the 14 minutes, whereas this being an 80-minute game, I believe France in the second half will start to really build up their points. Good evening, Hamish and Rugby Rockers. It's Kiwi Lads time again, says Ruth. And as we have got there, no France have scored a heap of tries in the last 20 nowadays. Says, or no France have scored a heap of tries. Says Gareth, although I believe this game will be the one that they start to find their momentum. We have got Jacqueline has said, hi, welcome in. Hope you are doing very well. Tim is here as well. Yeah, hope you guys are all excited for another round of the Rugby World Cup. Now, of course, this will be the first game of the weekend that we are covering, but we are covering every single match all along the way. New Zealand taking on Namibia tomorrow morning, and then 3 games back-to-back on the Sunday morning, and then 3 back-to-back on Monday. And how much do you think France will win by? I see them winning by around that 50-point margin in this game, maybe even more if they are able to find that chemistry early. I'm looking through this back line. I know that Louis Belbari, he doesn't like passing, so if they're able to shut him down early, that will completely mitigate that side of the field. And I think that's just with the fact that he's such a young player and he thinks that he will be able to run through anyone in front of him. Out on the other wing, though, Villiers, he's a little bit the same. Doesn't like to pass the ball too much, but will be willing to put that offload away. And it's whether or not this French side, I believe, they could be their own biggest enemy here. If they can work as a side, they will be effective. If they work as individuals, they may find a few little holes in their own game as they move forward. Looking through at their previous results, though, they've had 5 matches taken place since August, the first of which they did lose to Scotland, 25 points to 21. Quite a few of the players who were in that loss playing in this game up against Uruguay. Then from there, they were able to get themselves the home victory, 30 points to 27, 34 points to 17 win over the Fijians, 41 points to 17 win over the Australians. And then last week, the first game of the Rugby World Cup for the French, they won at 27 points to 13. So they will look to continue this winning streak that they're on, currently on 4. This would make it 5 if they get the win over Uruguay. Looking through at Uruguay's recent games, they had a tight-knit fixture with the Chileans, winning at 26 points to 25. And now we saw what Chile were able to do in their game up against Japan. So you wonder whether or not that stacks up well with France, and you have to say should be a big performance here from the French. They were close with Namibia sitting 26 points to 18, and then they were able to get themselves the victory over the Argentina XV, which is something that Chile weren't quite able to do, 33 points to 13. Looking at the chat once more, we have got there France should win. South America's Uruguay can be hard to run over, says Ruth, and good afternoon. I think there's unfortunately a very one-sided contest, says Kurt, and I think we're going to be saying that statement quite a few times throughout round 2 of the Rugby World Cup. Unfortunately, with the games that we got taking place, a lot of them seem like a one-horse race, and I'm hoping there's going to be an upset somewhere. And to be honest, these last 2 games, there's a chance that the underdogs could win. These 3 games to a stretch, we could see be relatively close depending on what happens. I know that Ireland have gone with quite a strong side up against the Tongans, not underestimating what Tonga can do in this Rugby World Cup. And I should mention also Portugal and Samoa, their first game of the Rugby World Cup taking place this round. We have got their bonus points galore, says the conversation station. Exactly right, is the B team. Close to the same as the A team, says Sports Fan. For France, a lot of these guys, if there were injuries, would be in the starting side. So I would say that they are still a very, very strong side. Sometimes it actually works better for teams when they do go with a slightly less experienced team because, you know, there's that little bit of extra fire, a little bit of extra passion to try and fight for your spot in the team because there are future games in the World Cup on the line if you do end up playing very well. Hamish looking fantastic as well as doing smooth commentary, says Roof. Hi all, and Hamish, says Robert. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing very well. We have also got there from Mason Perez. Let's go France, supporting because of my cousin, Romain Telfafanua. A very long distance, but still, says Mason. So welcome into the live stream, mate. Hope you are doing very well. They are just showing that starting lineup for Uruguay once again. Bit of experience there in the front row at loose head prop, but quite a young man on the other side. Only 24 years of age for Ignacio Piculo in this game. And overall, it's actually quite a young Uruguay side. So I'm looking forward to this game. I feel like, yes, it may end up being a little bit more one-sided than some anticipated at the very start of the competition. But Uruguay, I believe so far throughout their 4-pack, I've seen one man over the age of 30. Everyone else has been 27 and under. I believe that trend actually continues for quite a few of their backs. And this teams are quite inexperienced, quite new to the rugby world as Uruguay in the 15 side of things. Like I mentioned, they took the world by storm in their last games of the 7 circuit. We have just seen there Villaseca and right, they've got 3 players over 30. That is what we've just seen. Although for France, to a certain extent, they probably don't have a huge number more than that. So, yeah, interesting to see how it goes. And 60-point victory, I reckon, says Caras there in the Argentine flags from Danilo. And there as well, France New Zealand will go through to the quarterfinal. It's either France versus South Africa or New Zealand versus Ireland, says Yazin. And yeah, that is the rumour that has been going around for a long time, since about 2 years ago when the sides were all announced in their polls. Everyone has said that those are the 4 sides going through. Scotland at the moment and Italy are the 2 sides that seem like they could be the ones that cause a little bit of a spanner in the works. Evening, Hamish. All 7:55 hours here is what's left of the once Great Britain. What a time for Uruguay. Centrepiece against the host of the Rugby World Cup 2023. Good on them, I say, says Kerno Wick. And like I mentioned, the other underdog teams from round number 1, whether that's Romania, Chile, who else do we have that had a really good showing early on? There are a couple other teams who managed to get themselves the first tries up against their opposition, Namibia as another example. I would like to see Uruguay follow suit, have a good start to this match, put them under that little bit more pressure, and just see if they can push the French in this game just that bit more. Who do you think is winning the World Cup? Says Corey. At the moment, I still feel that it is going to be a side on the side of Pool A and B, which would involve, of course, France, New Zealand, Springboks, and Ireland. At the moment, seem to be the top four that will be making their way through. Although, it's funny enough to say New Zealand when they are sitting currently one loss. So, maybe even Italy could be making their way through. And Paul Bock, they're going to have to survive without Marks. Sure, there's another good hooker, says Roof. Well, I heard a rumour which involved Marco van Staden. He's in training to become a hooker now. The big question mark is who are they going to bring into that Springbok side to replace? Now, it's talked about that it could be Andre Pollard. It has been talked about that they don't really want to bring in a hooker. So I think if it's not Pollard, it's probably going to be Ivan Ruiz, mainly because he can replace Marco van Staden in that loose forward trio. We have got there, South Africa won the World Cup with one loss, says Gareth there. And also we have got there, I think, Ireland, even though I want Scotland since it's my home country, or Fiji, just because I like them, says Corey. And yeah, big game coming around the corner for the Fijians. They will be going head-to-head with Australia, and that is a must-win for Fiji. If they can get themselves the victory there with those bonus points that they got in the game up against Wales, it may be just enough to boost them over the line and mean that it's Australia and Wales fighting for the other spot. Not of Marks' quality. As an accurate line-out thrower under extreme pressure, in my opinion, says Kurnovec. Yeah, and the fact that they've only got Joseph Dweber as a player on standby in the hooker department, I think that's why Marco van Staden is looking like he's going to be becoming the hooker. The other options I've got, probably someone like a Kieran van Veeren, Johan Robbelaar, but I don't think they'll bring either of those guys in, seeing as they haven't been in that team environment. And to bring them in for the World Cup would put a lot of pressure on them. Let's hope Fiji don't get ripped off by the ref again, says Gareth. Still got it for Fiji after that heartbreak last week, says cited there. And also we got there France and Ireland, says Mr. Dublin, or GR Dublin. For the, is that the final, I assume, GR Dublin? And if that's the case, are you backing the Irish to win that final, or are you going with the home side France? Do let me know. But both sides now have made their way out onto the field. I should mention that after the uproar of disappointment from rugby fans all around the world, the choirs are now not compulsory. You can either go with the children's choir, or you can go with your own national anthem being played over the speaker. And I think that quite a few sides will go for that speaker option. They went to the kids and said, look, you suck. Unfortunately, no one wants to hear your anthems. That's not true, but that's how those kids will feel. So I hope the rugby world is happy. Crush some children's dreams. Hard game against Australia, says Corey. I think Pollard is currently in the UK. Might come back, although that would really hurt Marnie Libok's confidence, says Dead Tune. I think the problem for Marnie Libok at the moment is, sadly, people are still crushing his confidence, because anytime he kicks badly, they say kick him out of the side. Anytime he kicks well, they say, Marnie, we're sorry, come back in. Because he played very well against the All Blacks. Everyone was keen on him. He didn't kick so well against Scotland, and now I've heard a lot of people saying now he's not the guy. We have got there, after all of the whinging and hatred from Fiji fans, I'm going to be supporting Australia this weekend, says at the conversation station, and Musa said no one cares who you support. It's a bit brutal, but I guess, yeah, there's going to be a lot of people supporting different nations in this Rugby World Cup, that is for sure, and they do suck, sorry, it's true, deal with it, says cited, I'm very sleepy, so may only be here for half a game. It's icy cold in Cape Town, says Ruth. And there as well, the sun's actually coming out here, which is quite nice. I saw it earlier on, it was raining, it was blowing, it looked like a terrible day, but it might actually be quite nice now, which is nice news. I'm currently on a Northern Hemisphere time zone with my sleep schedule. I've been sleeping during the day, been working during the night, so we've been all over the place for this Rugby World Cup week, but currently we are hearing the French national anthem, and they have opted to ditch the choir and instead go with the crowd singing. And a lot of people talked about it, how it just has that more big match feel when you've got the instrumental being played across the stadium. But throughout this French starting lineup, we will put it up on the screen once more, but looking at these players, the ones that come to mind straight away, Sekou Makalu, he's a brilliant player. Cameron Walkie and Talfa Fanua, huge bit of size throughout the lock-in duo. And then in that midfield combination, Arthur Vincent versus Mofana, or with Mofana, I should say. But like I mentioned at the start as well, I am extremely curious to see how greedy the two French wingers are going to be. It sounds like a harsh statement. It may be because I've been up all night. But I didn't like what I saw from Belbari in the last game. He can be quite selfish. He cost his team a try when he did last play. And I believe that was actually in the game up against it was actually the game before, so it was up against Australia before the World Cup did get underway. But we are just about to have the Uruguay national anthem, Manuel Arau at number 6. Also in that forward back, a couple big men in the front row, the most experienced being the man at loose head prop, Echeverri at number 10, Arata at number 9, and Basso and Freitas out on the wing, looking to show what they can do early on here. We have got there no suit for this game, says Caitlin. At this stage, no suit, although I do have a rooster on my jersey for the French. It is a Rugby League World Cup, so it's slightly off, but we will have the suit back in the near future for this game. Or not for this game, but throughout the weekend. But I hope you are doing very well, Caitlin. You are excited for all the rugby action that we've got coming up. Is Luku a boring option at 9? I don't believe so. I think off the bench, we've seen little moments from him that make him seem like a very good option for the French as the backup to Antoine Dupont. I think a lot of people will still say, like, he's not Dupont, but he's a decent player. He would make it into a lot of other teams in terms of being able to be either the starter or coming off the bench. Hey, Tim, Abokev always, can always call Buckius Bota back, says Ruth there. I was talking about it as well in my video. I said Bismarck Duplessis, he'd certainly take the call if it meant that he was able to come back into the side. We have got there Hamish France 60 for them and Uruguay 3, says Kevin. And as the game started, says Corey, yeah, we seem to be quite far behind here in New Zealand. It's just because of the time zones. It takes a while to get over here. And Buckius, he's up in the Kruger, I expect, hunting. He'll take some finding, says Kerno Wick. But then saying that, it will also take some finding to find a replacement for Malcolm Marx, with the fact that he is now injured. The French 9 from under 20s look more exciting, plus a few others, says Gareth. Well, they went with Luku, so at the end of the day, we'll see what he can do here, getting a big opportunity in the starting lineup. I remember the last game he started, he actually did very well for Maxime Luku, so, you know, he's not a bad option. I think he'll be able to get it out relatively quickly. I think the big question mark here will be if Hastoi can match that, keep that ball moving for the French side. We've currently got ads here in New Zealand, but we are almost at the kickoff, ladies and gentlemen. Fiji could upset Australia, and why did South Africa go with 4 scrum halves in the starting lineup? Says Yazin, so they got 2 in the starting, 2 off the bench, and they're going with a little bit of an unorthodox side, it is fair to say, trying to work out exactly how they can tactically break down opposition. In a game up against Romania, it's going to be tricky to tell if it is effective up against the top sides. And we have got there Malcolm Marx as a big loss for South Africa, and I hope they bring back Andre Pollard, says Mornay. But it will be France kicking off from right to left. Ben O'Keefe, the Kiwi, in charge of this game. And we have got there Hastoi, the ALR machine. It's all about untested combinations, says Gareth. In your prediction of this match, please, how many tries in the first half? French may enjoy this test. I think they will. I think they're going to get about 7 tries in this first half. But it is being counted down in French, which I do not know, unfortunately. But I know that that was 3-2-1 and the whistle is blown. We are underway for the Rugby World Cup Round 2. Opening fixture, and it's a knock-on from France. I thought straight away, although it may have actually come off an Argentine, or sorry, not an Argentine, an Uruguayan player, which means now it is going to be an Uruguay line-out from about 15 metres out as the ball did touch. Yeah, my man Joseph Weber should be on the plane soon. I think he needs to register his 2 guns so he can legally fly to France and then throw them line out straight, hopefully, says Cited. I think, if I'm not wrong, he's already in... Is he already in France? Was he with the side on standby? I don't know whether or not that means that he actually got to travel with them or not. It looks like they have noticed that French knock-on, so it will be Uruguay's scrum feed now from about 22 metres out from their own line. France and Ireland final, Ireland to win, says GR Dublin. And game in the evening have low scores, says Robert Wood. And do you put that down to the little bit of a slipperier condition, Robert, or just because it's night time for the games? Maybe it's darker, they can't see the ball. Best referee in the world, Ben O'Keefe. Bloody great in my opinion, says Kerno Wick. We have got there, what's your prediction for this match, says Mornay Lagrange. I'm going France by around that 50 points. Both front rows going down in the first scrum, but it did look like there was a huge amount of pressure on the Uruguay front row. Like I mentioned, only one man in that forward pack over the age of 30 for their side. And good evening / morning, everyone. Says Flesh, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. Hope you're excited for the games. Of course, Wales going to be playing Portugal in their next game of the Rugby World Cup. It'll be a very interesting one. Uruguay by 27, says Hensel. Tell you what, if it happened, though, you'd be a genius. Everyone would look at that comment and go, how did he know? And France to win 52 points to 14, says Andre. And also right on, Fleshin, says Kerno Weck. But the ball about to be fed in by Santiago Arata. Penalty goes to France. That will be a trend at scrum time. Very strong in their front row, whether it is Gru, Bugre or Aldieri. They will all be putting the pressure on. I think that was actually the more experienced Loosehead to get sent backwards a little bit. How's it, Hamish? Says David Deepster. Doing very well, mate. Hope you are also keeping well. Hope you're excited for all the games that are taking place this weekend. In fact, that is a question, ladies and gentlemen. While we are early on in this match, which game are you looking forward to the most over the weekend? I know that for a lot of people, Australia versus Fiji is relatively high up there on the list. And for each to get the bonus point at least, hope Uruguay get a losing bonus point, says Gareth. And how's it, Hamish? I know I read that one, didn't I? All the jokes aside, in my opinion, the Box have astonishing depth, and there is a huge plus. The players can play in multiple positions and can rotate. Watch this upcoming game and see for yourself. Says Kurt, I think the big game to watch is definitely going to be Ireland, because I mentioned about it on the podcast as well. South Africa could field a side that had 13 backs, and they would still probably beat Romania. It sounds harsh, but it is true. Unfortunately, Romania not quite up to the par of some of those other sides in the group. So it's definitely going to be a tester for them when they do play up against either the Irish or one of those sides in the quarterfinals to see how the South Africans go if they do need to play players in those ways that they have for that Romanian game. We have got the other matches on 3 minutes 30 now. It certainly is. And France are sitting 3 points to 0. And Uruguay do not have a ball. They're looking for it. Oh, he's going to have to run and get it himself. Bit rough. Excited for the South African game, says Caitlin. It's going to be a good one. South Africa versus Romania. We get to see a little bit of unorthodoxness with the fact that they've gone with the 4 halfbacks. Who's the player in that game, Caitlin, that you are most excited to see? I think for myself, it's got to be Kane and Moody at number 13. Back into that side. I should also mention, ladies and gentlemen, if I look a little bit red, it is because I am sunburnt. Believe it or not, the sun came out earlier on in the week. I ended up helping umpire some kids' cricket and stayed out in the sun all day, and then I got burnt. Unfortunately, I'm doing watch-alongs for all the games. We certainly are. Every single match of the Rugby World Cup, we will be here on the channel. But currently inside of their own 22, it is Luku. We're going to roll this ball back and put it up high, and just manages to get it away in time and puts it into touch. Australia versus Fiji will be match of the weekend, says Mornay. And no Yato for Fiji, says Gareth. And also we have got their Aussie / Fiji for an upset box game for the points difference, says Diane. And Australia versus Fiji definitely there as well. And also, how you doing, Hamish? Been away for a while, but back now, says Enzo. It is absolutely awesome to have you back, mate. Doing very well. Somehow not sleep deprived yet, I don't think. Maybe a little bit. We'll see how we're going by the end of the weekend. Nice flat run from the Uruguay captain, number 12 for this game, Valaseca. Now, Uruguay looking to put together a few phrases. Probably phrases, but also phases. In this case, short ball. Oh, they're going again. Up to 30 metres out for the line. Another good run from the inside centre. Arata fires it back across Sekou Makalu. Has to make the tackle there. But Uruguay going for the cross kick. Now it's risky, but it almost pays off. It's kicked forward. Uruguay score in the corner. And it will be Nicolas Freitas scores the first try of the game. Every time that we've seen an underdog play at this stage, a massive underdog, they get themselves the first try of the contest. And that has almost silenced the French crowd. Yeah, all good. I'm looking forward to the calmer game, but I'm sure we'll try and mess it up, says Fleshin. And there as well, best commentary, says Shawal. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated. What a try. Cross kick from the Uruguayan number 10, Ramos. No, it was actually Jaminet back there. Wasn't able to take the ball cleanly. The assist goes to Felipe Echeverri, and it will be Nicolas Freitas who gets over the try line for Uruguay in their first World Cup since a while ago. I think they played in 2019, didn't they? Should have put on some sunscreen, says Joel. I should have, yes. That is some good advice. Good try, says Joel. And we have got there Uruguay try, says GR Dublin. And also we've got load shedding in South Africa. If it wasn't for you, I would have missed the first half, says Rhea. And we are going to be here for every single game of the Rugby World Cup. So anytime that load shedding does impact you, be sure to pop in. We'll keep you informed of what is happening. But now, kicking attempt. Oh boy, he almost actually sconed the guy who was looking for the charge down. 7 minutes in, Uruguay lead this game 5 points to 3. England versus Japan could also be a thriller if Japan gets it right, says Johan. Exactly right. And Uruguay try, says Yazine. And it is Nicolas Freitas who has been able to score that first try of the contest. What the, says GT. And awesome, says Robert Wood. And there's all my comments starting to look better. True. Early try coming for Uruguay. I also see an early cut opening up on one of the players' foreheads. But they've strapped him up ready. Now, get back into the action. Nicely taken by Ardo. Lined up by Romain Taufifenua. Currently inside of their own 22. Firing it back into the pocket more than likely. Although it looks like maybe Santiago Arata will actually go for the kick himself. And does just that. Straight down the middle of the field. France at the back, nicely taken now by, it is going to be Jaminet. Ball put up high, chasing well, and it is actually taken by the French fullback, but Uruguay for a second were over the ball. Ardo feels unlucky not to get that turnover. Luku now going away to the right-hand side. Nice short pass from Arthur Vincent. Great to see him back in a French kit after quite a long layoff with injury. He's been playing now in 2023 for a couple games. Looking like a very good option. That's going to be another advantage against Uruguay this time in the breakdown. Luku with the sniping run, breaking through defenders, manages to get through 3, but dragged down just 10 metres out from the try line. Arthur Vincent now gets it off to Pierre Bergeret, the man who plays for La Rochelle throughout the top 14 in Champions Cup. Bodian driven backwards. Luku now fires it short to Cameron Walkie. In fact, it will be Taufifenua, his lock-in teammate. We have got there, Ireland versus Tonga will be a close game, says Kevin, and we are going back for the initial penalty. This could be the biggest upset of the World Cup, says Joseph. And good evening from Johannesburg in the darkness, but you bring us some light, says Andre G. Well, it's hugely appreciated you being here for these matches. It's absolutely awesome to have you all here. It's actually incredible the amount of countries that we have got covered throughout this Rugby World Cup already, and we are only into the start of round 2. We're to watch the game live, says Sib. Depending on whereabouts you are in the world will depend on your options. I believe if you are in South Africa, your best option for this game would be DSTV, one of those two round one way, but unfortunately it's a paid subscription to be able to watch it. Is it really an upset if they've never played before, says Dead Tune? Looking at the world rankings, most definitely, for the way that they are sitting. And good evening from Cape Town, South Africa, enjoying your commentary or enjoying your channel. Thanks, says Natasha. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated. Now, Luku, 5 metres, DSTV. That's the wrong way around, isn't it? Is it D? Wait, no. DSTV is the right way around. What way did I say? DTSV. Maybe. 5 metres out, another penalty. Uruguay, unfortunately, I think will be going to the bin at some stage throughout this match for their front row. Is Supersport the same thing as DSTV? If people ask, could I get away with saying it's on Supersport rather than getting the letters around the right way? And Swiss slash South African, says Hensel. And we have also got their evening Andre, says Kernovik. And there's on Hamish Rocks, Kiwi Lad smashing it out of the park. Boom. Hit that like button, people, and subscribe, please, says a roof. So anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Like I mentioned, we've got plenty more games just around the corner. The first of which is going to be the match taking place between New Zealand and Namibia. So that should be an intriguing game tomorrow morning. Or I guess tomorrow night for me with the time zone I'm currently working with. Now Luku, 5 metres out from the line. Doesn't look like they're quite going to get this ball out as quickly as they would have liked. They've been told to use it now. Big run forward over the line. Hastoy scores the try for France. And that'll be their first try of this Rugby World Cup fixture. DSTV is the home of Supersport. Okay. See, I always get confused because I think I've told people in the past you can either go for Supersport or DSTV. Supersport is a channel on DSTV. It's a channel on DSTV, just say Supersport. From now on, I'm going to say Supersport, and everyone will be like, oh, this guy knows some of what he's talking about. Caleb Clark will shine. I'm looking forward to seeing him on the right wing because I feel like he might actually just go all right. We have got DLI from Durban, South Africa, enjoying your commentary. Thanks from Bruce there, so thank you very much for tuning in. And Supersport is pretty much the same as DSTV in there as well. And DSTV on Supersport. I'm going to feel so smart now. When anyone comes in and is like, where do I watch this? I'll be Supersport, 2 thumbs up, big smile. Do you think the All Blacks will win the whole thing or not? It's a tricky one at the moment. They've got to find some form. I would say as the first step, French jerseys aren't wet, that's Greece. Says Timid, and come on Uruguay, says Rugby Itch in there as well. Now Jaminet, line up this kick. About 32 metres out on the angle, straight down the middle, no problems there. And the score now becomes 10 points to 5 in favour of France. Luku, great run from him. And then Hastoy just ran flat at the line. Amaya wasn't able to make the tackle on him. All the Supersport stream are in Afrikaans, says Gareth. Yeah, to be fair, my Afrikaans isn't great. I think I know Baya Danki. I know Yao Leka Ding. And I also know the swear words because I've been called many of them on these live streams. You're the best alternative. Non-paying channels, thanks my man, says good. No worries at all. And we are planning on doing every single game of this Rugby World Cup. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun along the way. Another advantage goes the way of France, being 35 metres out from their line. Bergeret fires the ball up now to Jaminet. Vincent, ball on the outside. Sekou Makalu finds a nice offload away. So it is going to be Louis Belbery up to 40 metres out from the line now. The youngest French player ever in an international kit. Now Luku. Now goes to Hastoy again. Mofana looks to drive his way through. We have got a super sticker from Vanessa, mate. Thank you very much. Hugely appreciated, Vanessa, for your kind support. Now Luku going now off short. Another bit of quick hands work from France. Jalon goes to Villiers. Tackled low there by Inkiati, I believe is his name. Bugret slightly held there. Jaminet, another offload. And also another advantage going the way of the French. Kicked him behind by Hastoy, and they will go back for another penalty. I was about to compliment Uruguay on their defence. Then France scores, says cited. And I going for Scotland kind of sucks. They have Ireland and South Africa in the pool, though, says Music Kiwi. Yes, it's a very tough group, that is for sure. And God bless you, mate. Much respect. I love your commentary. The best yet. Go on and shine, mate, says Shawal. And as well, thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. Is there any other Afrikaans words you know? No. Unfortunately, I only know the very, very bare minimum. In fact, I don't even know how to say hello, how are you in Afrikaans, which I feel like is one of the first things I should have learned. What does buy a donkey mean? Is that thank you? Maybe? I'm not too sure. I feel like that might be on the right track, but it could also be completely wrong. We've got there Morena Hamish from Vamos Kiwi lads. Says the Blues, Nate. Welcome in, mate. I think they try from Uruguay, just let the French know that they're in the contest. Expecting the French to dominate from here on in, says Nathan. Loving just the way he says Afrikaans. Do I say it wrong? That would be a bit of a mistake, wouldn't it, if I'm even saying the language wrong, let alone any of the words of it. They're just showing the skill from Taufafanua, put it through his legs. Bayadunkies, thank you very much, says Ria there. And Bayadunkies, thank you, mate. We have got there, hello. Ho. Is that ho or hoi? Hohan dit meet you? Met you? I need some more practice. I need a tutor from South Africa, don't I? Help me with the Afrikaans. Afrikaans is similar to Dutch. Says Novmum in there as well. And Luku now pass it across to Taufafanua, trying to break through the big tackle attempt of the Lucy prop. And it's actually a turnover now for Uruguay. Oh, that's a rough pass. Tried to give it to him round his toes. And he wasn't quite able to bend enough. Not bad, says Dana there. Or Dana, I should say. Hamish is doing lekker commentary, Kiwi lads, rock on. And by a donkey is thank you very much, says Gert in there as well. But now scrum feed for France, sitting about 25 metres out from the line. And oh, Chief, I can teach you Afrikaans, bro. Says Joshua, I will teach you, Hamish, says Grant in the chat as well. There is a man on the screen who I should know. Rodrigo Capo, I think. Okay, I didn't know him. 400 games for a French side. That is pretty impressive. I'll be your tutor, says Marina there. And also we have got there, Dutch have ik. Afrikaans is ik, says Nom. Another free kick there at scrum time against the Uruguay side. I will teach you French, Hamish, says Ian Foster. Yeah, to be fair, I don't know a lot of French either. Bonjour. Mademoiselle? No, that's not something, is it? I think I just called myself a woman. Maybe that's an accident, of course. When the French lose the World Cup final versus the All Blacks, says says Ian. Now Luku to feed the ball in again at scrum time. Mexican wave going around the ground. We have got commentator Hamish, says Schwal. I assume that's something along the lines of your earlier comment about the good commentary, hopefully. Now loose ball picked up there by Arthur Vincent. Now Geelong goes across to Siku Makalu. 30 metres out from their own line here, France. They haven't quite been able to dominate this game as early as they did expect. Currently sitting 13 points to 5. Try saying this to say Afrikaans properly. Afrikaans. Oh, okay. So it's just a little bit more of an emphasis at the start. Siku Makalu does get tackled low. Tell you what, Sanguetti has been extremely busy throughout the early stages of this game. Siku Makalu, though, breaking one tackle, finds his offload away now to Arthur Vincent. Tries the big fend on Ardio, who has taken him down. Luku now going across to the left. Jaminet, skip pass, out now to Villiers. Tackled well by Basso. Seems like overall Uruguay on defence aren't allowing too many gaps to open up in the early stages, which is exactly what they needed to do to try and take some of the wind out of the French sails. Now, Ardio very close to getting the turnover there. Luku once again pops it up to Hastoy. Villiers receives the inside ball. And we have there just got here who scored the first try for France. It was Antoine Hastoy at number 10 for this game. Oh, I think Villiers was in touch. Yes, he was. And it's actually going to become a penalty in favour of Uruguay. Just out from their own line. Well done, mate. That is Afrikaans. Hopefully. Mademoiselle is Mrs. and bonjour is good morning. Tres bien Hamish. Appreciate all the work you do, mate. Says Ian Foster. I do know what that means, Gert. I see it quite often. Definitely when South Africa are losing. Just a bit of banter for the first stream, of course. Now it's got into Dutch from Uruguay. Tried the banana kick. And we have got there, France and Uruguay. This live stream has turned into an Afrikaans. Afrikaans lesson for Hamish. Probably load shedding if it is a South African site, says Joshua. Now, nicely slapped by Uruguay, but it wasn't straight. Now means that it will be another scrum for the French. We saw a little bit of a high five there between Bougret and Santiago Arata. It's going to be a lot more pressure coming now at scrum time. 20 minutes into this game. Currently only 8 points down for the Uruguay side. I'm a Maori and Nice. France at the moment. And all you need is bonne chance pour le Coupe du Monde. Good luck for the World Cup, says GT. Just Jean Menezes, man in charge of Uruguay. 4 tries needed for France to get themselves the bonus point. And what is at the moment a close group between France and Italy In terms of the top two, of course, Italy not going to be playing this week, so they will start drifting a little bit further behind. Oh, free kick to Uruguay. I feel like I'm making a lot of weird noises today. I think it's just because I'm all fired up for round number 2. That looks like someone has literally taken a piece of the turf off, and now they are just trying to flatten it back out. We'll go there. We need a real bad Afrikaans now. Says Fleshin. We have got there. Sri Lanka need 9 runs and 7 balls versus Pakistan in the Asia Cup, says Andre. I think that game, did it have a rain delay, or was that the last time those two sides played? Andre, I know that someone had a rain delay in that competition, but it may not have been that one. Who is the referee for this match? It is Ben O'Keefe, the New Zealander. A mark taken from France inside of their 22, looking to kick it towards the touchline. Uruguay will take it quickly. Thrown to himself. There is the try scorer, Nicolas Freitas. Now kick downfield again from Uruguay. Awkward bouncing one, but sits up for Histoy, who is waiting at the back for it. Now Jaminet will go for the kick himself. Oh, well taken. Inside of the 22 this time, I believe, was the outside centre. Running on to that one was Jaminet. Found the ball away to Mofana. Offload to Sekou Makhelu. Finds another one of his own to Villiers. Moves up to 22 metres out from the line. Uruguay trying to hold him up. And actually this is going to become a rolling ball. One of the players climbing on top. I don't know whether you're allowed to do that, but it looks like it's going to work. He's piggybacking his teammate. And now he gets dumped to the ground. The recap bids 40 minutes. That's the second half. Says Blues Nate. And there as well, yeah, Tim is currently in Zimbabwe, so the Wi-Fi was a little bit slower getting that one up, but luckily we managed to get it filmed, and it was all sorted. That one, and Gus is in the chat as well. Welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. We have got there you go, the French starting to pump the gas. Vive la France, says Ruth. And there, do you like Yako, the South African ref? I feel like there are referees that some people prefer to others. I would say that Yako, you know, he's not absolutely terrible, you know? Like, I don't mind him. He can be persistent at times, which can get a bit annoying, but, you know, not as persistent as we saw in that Wales versus Fiji game from Matthew Carley. And vamos los tiros, says Mikhail there. And number 9 decided to become a backpack. Is that allowed, says Sided? I was wondering about it, because theoretically, I know you're not allowed to jump on someone's back, are you? But he kind of jumped on his own player and then just sat on top. So I think he was all right. Collapsed in the scrum. Another penalty against Uruguay. And like I mentioned, at some point soon, someone's probably going to go to the bin. And I don't think there's much Uruguay can actually do about it, sadly, just with the difference in these two scrums. And hi, Brandon. Oh, sorry, Brandon says hi, Hamish. Welcome in, Brandon. Yeah, going down straight away. Just the pressure from Dorian Eldieri. Just a bit too much. Now Pierre Bourret, 5 metres out from the line for France here. Chance for another try on the board. Got a lot of men in that rolling maul. Getting driven relatively well backwards by Uruguay, but it is about to rotate. And that is when the danger starts. I think it's gone down. It's down by Blue. If they can't get this one out, brilliant defence from Uruguay, and that is now going to be another scrum. That is not the best case scenario, though, because, of course, now they have to try and win that scrum. Greetings from Cayman. Stuck at work, so you have to keep me up to date, says Yvonne. So far, we have seen 2 tries in this game. One for Histoy at number 10 for France, and the other scored by the number 11, Nicolas Freitas, for Uruguay. Vamos, says Blues Nate. And we have also got there you and Steve-O sharing rooms. Separate due to private sessions with Eddie, says Blues Nate. Yeah, great work in that breakdown. I want to say that Chevetta was the man got his hands on that ball and wouldn't quite let it go. A solid defence, the Darth Maul Arts, says cited there. Although the job is not quite done for Uruguay, only 5 metres out from their own line here. And yeah, it's a big push. And the penalty goes the way of Uruguay, just a little bit too early with the push from France. We have got there, Hamish, are you covering Australia versus Fiji? I am indeed. We are covering every game of this round. For anyone who doesn't know who is playing in this round of the comp, though, we have got this pop-up. New Zealand playing Namibia tomorrow morning. We will be covering that one on the channel as well. Samoa versus Chile, Wales, Portugal, and Ireland, Tonga, all following each other back to back to back. I think after that game, that's on Sunday morning. I think we are doing a recording session after that. Not to do with the World Cup, though. One of the side projects we are working on. South Africa and Romania, Australia, Fiji, and England versus Japan. The last game taking place on this round. Quite a few fun games coming just around the corner. Maybe quite a few one-sided games. It's one of those rounds that had to happen at some stage, if that makes sense. Like, we had to have these games that could end up being a little bit more one-sided, but it's just that question mark of how much will certain teams be able to win by. I feel like that will be the exciting part of it. Now getting driven towards the touchline was Batista Bazo. Staying inside of the touchline though. Oui, vive la kiwi lads. We have got there, hello. That means hello, how are you? From South Africa says, JJ, I'm doing very well, mate. Wait. Baya donkey for asking? Maybe? Hopefully. Fiji will beat Australia, fact. Says Andre, and England versus Japan should be entertaining, as well as Fiji versus Australia games decided. Yeah, I believe in terms of the overall games, people are looking forward to those later three, which includes Springboks, Springboks Romania is what I was saying, but it does sound like there's a little bit of head-on-head that may have just taken place. Romain Tolfa could find himself in a little bit of trouble depending on how high. He was getting tackled and was ending up falling down, but Tolfa hit him with the hard part. Oh. How's he got that around there like that? It's going to be a yellow card. I don't know how his flexibility. He kind of hit him with that part, I think, while also still somehow making a tackle, unless my arm's backwards. Maybe it was a mirror shot. The All Blacks were giving Namibia a cricket score. Says Sean Leasing, the clapping from Caitlin. And there as well, in Samoa versus Chile could be an upset. That's going to be 10 minutes and on report. So whether or not Tolfa will be back in this game, we will have to wait over the next little while. He goes over and apologises to Santiago Arata. I don't think this should be upgraded, but then saying that, I didn't think Tom Curry's would be upgraded to red, and it was. So it's tricky to tell. And very well done. Yes, great Afrikaans. There, mate, says JJ. I still hesitate saying it since I learned that I was saying it wrong, but Afrikaans should be a bit better. I've done the ABs by 80 in the box by 100, says Fleshin. 100. Could be a high scoring one, that is for sure. Although, I'd like to think that Romania should be able to start the match well, but that's probably only the first about 20 minutes or so. Oh, actually, I thought he was dipping more because of the tackle, but he didn't actually dip that much. So Tolfa might be in some slight trouble here. I still think it will only be a yellow, but I wouldn't be surprised if they call it as a red. 272 watching, only 66 likes. Hit that like button, please, says Oka. Anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that like button. Booger it. Now kicking it in behind, going for the grubber. It's going to be bouncing up nicely, though, inside of the 22. Lot of pressure on this youngster. And number 9 has been slapped down to the ground by Hastoi. We have also got a super sticker from Yvonne as well. Thank you very much, Yvonne. Hugely appreciated. I don't know what it is about this World Cup, but you guys have been extremely generous on these live streams. So I do thank you very much for that. It doesn't show the little image on the actual screen, but I do have them here that I am able to see, and that's going to be the knock-on from France. By 100, says Gareth. By a donkey, real meaning, thank you very much, says Dirk. And just accidental. The player is short, though. He's a big guy, doesn't seem deliberate. Yeah, he's a bit unlucky that he just didn't quite dip at the hips enough, did he? And this World Cup is awesome for the game internationally because the traditional weaker nations are managing to score points against the contenders. But I should mention that Yvonne's one said, you are amazing as well. And that is the first ever super sticker from Yvonne on the channel. So massively appreciated, Yvonne, for your generosity. Thank you for all your hard work, especially last weekend. You're a legend. Says Yvonne, and we are going to be doing every game of the Rugby World Cup, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. And come on, Uruguay, let's get it. Flesh in the USA isn't in the World Cup this time. Signed an American. says Gus. And also we have got there, you're doing so good at Afrikaans. At the moment, mate, you could become a teacher in South Africa, says Shawal. It'd be tricky enough, because I feel like I don't even speak English that well. That's a nice pass out wide, all foot race. Belbarry able to take him down, but Uruguay now once again inside of French territory. Current score 13 points to 5. So it's not completely one-sided in the way that this game currently sits. Oh, it's a drop ball, unfortunately, for the young number 10, Echeverri, the man who got the cross kick straight to his winger, kicked him behind by France. Back there to cover was Bautista Bazo, who will now look to try and carve through the defensive line. Has been taken down relatively quickly. Thanks very much. We appreciate you, says Eugene. Thank you very much. There should be a red. It was dipping down, but no attempt to wrap, says Brian. Oh, yeah, I've got there here about last weekend. Sorry, not coming to them, says Brandon. No worries at all, mate. It's a very busy time of the year, of course. Now chipped him behind from Echeverri again. Taken nicely by Uruguay. I believe that would have been Aliaga. Now they've got numbers. I don't like that option that they decided to kick it in behind. Although Uruguay, the ball is set up for them quite nicely. Looking to go down the wing. That will now be the knock-on against them. They've got there in the chat, unlike the hotel stairs that literally tackled a player concussed. There's a red card offence for the hotel stairs. Okay, there was just a bit of communication there between Cameron Walkie and Ben O'Keefe. Keith saying, just make sure you don't get yourself offside in those situations. Dotel said, but Ireland put a lot on them. Was Sexton easing through the gears, says Flesh. And I have seen that he's actually playing in the starting lineup for Ireland in the next game up against Tonga. They have decided to stick with Sexton. Our video for that game, in terms of the lineups, will be out a little bit later on today. Probably in the evening, I would say. Your English is fine. You can work to make your accent a little more understandable, says Igor there. Yeah, I think us Kiwis, we normally like to shorten things, if that makes sense. Like sometimes we just won't say the whole word. We'll just say a shortened version of it. I'm trying to think of some good examples. And of course, my brain can't think of many. Scuffs. That's what we call like shoes that slip on. That's a terrible example. I apologise. Now inside of the 22, and Uruguay actually win another penalty here at scrum time. Now I think the benefit that Uruguay have is France are that dominant at times that they haven't been able to push against anything, and then Uruguay aren't the team that are flopping out. For excitement, I want Uruguay to score again. And there says Robert Wood, and a sure-ish. Kiwi lads rocking to a Rugby World Cup commentary, says Ruth. Are you doing the All Blacks tomorrow? We certainly are. Don't lose your voice before the next Springbok game, says Hillary. No worries, we will certainly still have it. Oh, so there's direct contact to the head. He'll come back on after the 10 minutes, they've said, because there were mitigating factors. So that is a massive relief for the French. Taufa Fanua will be back out there. Uruguay doing not so badly, says Brian. Exactly right. And we've improved Hamish's English by teaching him Afrikaans, says Grant. And also France will still win with a bonus point. And good morning, bro, says Florian. Welcome in, but now a chance. Pujadas with the line out throw. 10 metres from the line. Nicely taken at the front by Uruguay. Although straight away France putting on the pressure. But wouldn't it be quite something if Uruguay are able to score themselves a rolling maul try? And tell you what, they're only 5 metres from the line now. Very structured, although the ball now available off the back, and will be the skipper. Passes back across, try between the sticks almost. It's another one. And it will be Felipe Echeverri, the man who got himself the try assist for the first one. Uruguay make it only 3 points difference. Good evening, sir. Loving the commentary as usual, says KFS. And there. And also we have got the hell is that not upgraded to a red? World Rugby as Joe says in the report. And Uruguay some scrum penalty. That makes a change, says Brian there. But great flat run from Echeverri. Came in behind his number 12, Valaseca. And Uruguay score again. Their 9 and their 10 already being able to score. We have got there, let's go Uruguay. says the Lim report there. And I'm glad to hear that Evan will be ready to play. Shoulder injury better, says Roof. And also we have got there, get in, Uruguay, says it was there from Grant. An unbelievable wow. All hang on, they're checking this one. They want to check the grounding. This sounds, wait a minute. Okay, there's obstruction maybe by 13. Inciate, they need to check this to see whether or not he's caused clear obstruction, which has stopped the defender from making the tackle. Unfortunately, he's made contact with the defense in front of the attacking player. This will be no try now for Uruguay, and it's just a mistake that didn't need to happen. He overran it, and they will have to go back. Inciate, no try for his team. Uruguay not playing badly, says Andre. Well done, Uruguay, says Brian. Go Uruguay, says James there. He stops a potential tackler, and now it does mean that it's going to be no try, ladies and gentlemen. But Uruguay still showing that they are right in with a shot of being able to score. Okay, so Ben O'Keefe just having to explain that because he ran on the outside of him rather than the inside, it all comes down to what shoulder he hits. And because he ends up hitting the outside shoulder rather than the inside, the try is disallowed, obstruction called, and penalty goes the way of France. Vanessa said go Uruguay. And also so annoying, says James, yeah, very close for Uruguay to get themselves another try. They won, settle the French, says Robert. I think this whole first half will be unsettling for them because this was supposed to be a walk in the park for them. And they've made it very tricky throughout this game. And I'm going to go back to what I said at the start of the contest. I think that this French side at the moment, looking through at this back line, they almost have too many individuals rather than team players. And it's been hurting them here because the back line hasn't been firing the way we would like it to. For France, it's actually been the forwards who have been creating those offloading opportunities and keeping the ball alive rather than the backs who all want to try and get themselves some highlight reel tries. We have got there, so now we're checking for fouls in play. Northern Hemisphere teams getting all the calls, says Boderick. Match officials are no fun, says Grant there. Is it the referee, says Roof. But yeah, Ben O'Keefe was just relaying the message that he did learn on there as well. TMO completely at fault. Ben O'Keefe right to call the dangerous hit. Alpha Fanoa, very lucky to still be playing, says the Lim report. Challenge up in the air. It's going to be knocked on by Velaseca. And now France, they've actually been given the penalty. In this case, in shame, France will get fried by Galtri and Rafa at half time, says Kerno Wick. And damn, that's rough for Uruguay in there as well. And come on, Uruguay. I will do it for the Southern Hemisphere. Now France kicking for the corner. Looks like a relatively nice evening. I believe I saw that the temperature sitting around that, I think it was 15 degrees Celsius, which is a lot nicer than it has been in terms of coolness than some of the other nights that we had in round number 1. Good contestable kick though. For France, that all created this opportunity to now be 7 metres out from the try line. Have themselves the line out. Cameron Walkie able to clean that one up after having a bit of a juggle as he made his way down to the ground. Great try, what a fix, says Eric there. Driven backwards, great defence from Uruguay once more. Now Villiers look for the offload to Mo Fana, but it's been stripped away there by the try scorer Fragtus. 5 metres from the line. They will have to try and get rid of this Uruguay. Relieve some of that pressure with only 3.5 minutes remaining in this first half. Keep up the good work, says Dublin. Thank you very much, mate. And thanks so much. Cheers from Durban, South Africa, says Brian in there as well. It's going to be kicked into touch. Jaminet decides against going for the quick throw. Uruguay fired up, says Robert Woods. And I mean, they're right in this contest. If that try had been scored, they'd be even more in it, of course. But currently only 8 points down with 3 minutes remaining in the first half. I consider this as a massive performance from Uruguay throughout the early stages of this game. They're stolen, says Cited, and so unlucky for Uruguay, says Morna. Yeah, extremely close to getting that try, just that little bit of obstruction past the ball that did cost them. But now Luku goes up to Hastoy. Short ball to Abudient. Playing at number 6, Burgerit. Short pass to Jalon. Finds another offload to Luku. Uruguay there. It's going to be the advantage in the penalty. Just ended up leaving his feet beforehand. France, I believe they are looking for the corner once more. I think when people moan about accents, they do not listen to normal people enough, says Gert. I love pork belly, says Jared. I don't think I've ever had pork belly, to be honest. I've had pork, but I haven't had pork belly. I don't know what part of the pork I've had, or the pig I've had, I should say. And woo, says Ric Flair, and Tight Game says Ockert. And also do you credit Hamish, doing a good job with foreign name pronunciation, says Agor there. And Ric Flair once again has said woo in the chat as well. Fantastic commentary from Hamish. Hit that like button and they will get blown away second half, says Jay. Yeah, it's going to be a tricky one for these slightly lower ranked sides because they will gas out as the game goes on. The benefit that they've got this week, though, rather than last week, is the fact that it's a little bit cooler during the day and also during the night now. Rather than being in the 30 degrees, they're only sitting in kind of those early to late teens. Going to be another advantage, this time in favour of France. Luku searching for the ball. I think it's going to be Cameron Walkie who ends up with the ball at the back. In fact, he's going to leave it for Roman. Talfa Fanor tries to go himself, is just short of the try line. Now around the side, one more, this time from Jean-Baptiste Gru. 90 seconds remaining in the first half. Luku goes across to Hastoy, goes for the cross kick, and it's dead. Too far on it. Pork belly is top shelf, says Gus. Pork belly is lush. I feel like I need to find a pork belly. I feel like that wouldn't be too... Would it be tricky to find? Is it like hard to find a pork belly? You'd have to find a pig first, of course. One that's, of course, been butchered and everything like that. Sorry, vegans. Ric Flair said it again. Says it was there from the Caitlin just for the sound effects. The nature boy, of course, styling and profiling. Discipline down there. Uruguay now starting to get warned again. You strike the perfect balance between calling the game and interacting with the comments. Good on you, mate. Says Nathan. And at times it is very tricky. I will be honest, sometimes people get annoyed if we're talking too much to the chat. I don't think we've ever had too many people annoyed if we call the game too much, but I always like to acknowledge all the comments, or as many as I physically can throughout the game. We have got there, now it's cheap up here. If you added streaky bacon, that's pork belly. Says Robin there. Ric Flair is really setting the next... The thing is, it's 7:50 in the morning. Do I send one, even though the family are asleep? Maybe. We'll see. Once again, a woo. It's quite hard to go that high, I'll be honest. I feel like it used to be easier. If you know, you know. Chinese restaurant for pork belly, says Gus. And Scrum France, says John. 5 metres out from the line now. Another chance for Le Bleu. 20 seconds remaining. This ball is available now. Out to the left-hand side, Mofana. Good tackle made on him. If Uruguay can get the turnover now, they will survive this half with only conceding one try. That looked like it should have been a penalty, and it is. Jalon goes over the top of the breakdown, gives away the penalty, and now Uruguay, they will be able to kick this ball into touch to close out the half. Come to Vanuatu one day and I will cook you the best pork belly, says Florian. I'd love to go to Vanuatu. I feel like there are a lot of places that I'd love to go in the near future. Well, maybe not the near future. I'd need more financials in the near future, but I feel like there's a few places I'd like to tick off. We've got the smiling and the clapping from Caitlin as well. Hit the likes and subscribe if you're new, says Nate. Anyone who is new, hit that subscribe button. Hugely appreciate you all being here on the road to 35. Ask your butcher, you will get it. But it is one of the best parts, says Ockert. I don't even know if we have a local butcher. I'm in a really small town. But it is half time, ladies and gentlemen. 13 points to 5. Very good effort from Uruguay to, throughout that first 40. Do we have a butcher? We have a supermarket that has meat. I once saw them selling a big sausage, borwers, which I can't pronounce, but the South African sausage. Damn, Uruguay playing well, says Brick Johnson. Let's not forget about the Rainbow Warrior. If you know, you know. Let's go Uruguay, says Cool K. And you're making my tummy growl with the hunger. Yeah, and your pork belly, says Dennis. Sorry about that. Let's go Uruguay from a Kiwi, says Carol. And Uruguay can be proud of the efforts regardless of the final result, says Geza. Yeah, throughout this first half, they have looked absolutely phenomenal up against a French side that, let's be honest, there are a few players missing. But this is still a French side that a lot of people felt were going to put massive, massive points on Uruguay. The question is whether or not Uruguay tire in the second half. Never eat pork belly, it is disgusting, says Dirk. Okay, it seems like there's a bit of a split in that regard. You can have crispy pork belly and soft fat pork belly are both good, says Fleshin. And also South Africa versus New Zealand, the quarterfinal. Saw a little bit earlier on. Get this O'Keefe ref off the field. His bias towards the French. Change the ref as soon as possible, please, says Johan. I wouldn't guarantee that he's been biased towards the French. I think he's been pretty good throughout this game. The TMO was the one who did go back and disallow that try and also ended up going upstairs for that Taufa Fanua one. So, yeah, I feel like the TMO is the one to blame more. I think Ben O'Keefe's been relatively down the middle. In fact, he's probably been more lenient towards Uruguay's scrum than a lot of referees would have been in this same scenario. I'm Uruguayan. I never watched rugby before. I just want to win, says Travelling Man. And at the moment, they aren't doing too bad at all in this game. Only 8 points down. The South African sausage is the one Elton Yankees was given to the dietitian chick. Lovely. He's been feared, to be honest, says Geza. And TMO was unnecessary, says Cited. And crispy human flesh, yum. We have got the arteries. Well, thank you for passing on pork belly, says Igor. And France are filled in about their third string, says Gus. Well, that's the thing. They've only got a 33-man squad. 10 of the players who played up against New Zealand are playing in this game. So they can't exactly go with anything less than, I mean, it's B team minimum because it's only a 33-man squad. Like I said, about 10 players of these 23 played last game. O'Keefe's doing okay. I want to go and redo this game on Rugby 20 so Uruguay can win, says James there. By the looks of things, New Zealand going to have a hard day versus the Uruguay team. And also the French team are playing an Uruguay rugby team that has a history of eating each other, says Robert. And also, how is Bill Barry so far? Extremely quiet. I don't think we've really seen enough of him. I mentioned about it at the start of the game, how he doesn't really like to pass, and we haven't seen him pass, I don't think, once throughout that first half either. And also, we have got there Robert Wood, yes. Says Travelling Man, and also we have got that France will not win the World Cup if they continue like this, says Scissor South Africa. And this French 15 aren't doing themselves any favours, says Geza. And was it legit 40 minutes? It was. It did seem very fast, but it actually probably only took 50 minutes to get through that half, which is actually a pretty decent time for some of the matches that we have had in the World Cup. I believe Japan versus Chile's first half took around an hour and 3-4 minutes, something like that. And also France will not win the World Cup if they continue like this. And also I have remembering when Japan beat South Africa, but credit to Uruguay, says Geza. And there, yeah, I think Uruguay, they've had some good moments throughout this half. And I think that's the main thing for them, getting some confidence going forward into their next few games. I will show you exactly, well, I'll tell you the stats. First of all, 330 metres made by France. They have made 24 tackles. They have missed 7. Uncharacteristically for the French in that case. 8 tackles missed by Uruguay, 64 tackles made by the French, by Uruguay. So actually a better percentage there. 9 penalties against Uruguay and 5 against France. Ben O'Keefe says Markadeke, O'Keefe off the field, replace him immediately with another ref, says Johan. I think everyone else in the chat has said that he's done a pretty decent job in terms of being down the middle for this game. Overall, Johan. So I guess which part of his game are you not happy with? If you're not happy with the disallowed try was legitimate. They had to disallow that one due to the dummy run that was put through. But which part of it aren't you happy with what Ben O'Keefe's done in this game? I think Uruguay are playing as well as they can, but France can still cycle through at least 2 more gears, says Nathan. Are you looking forward to tomorrow's game, New Zealand versus Namibia? I am. It will be a nice early morning start for us here in New Zealand once more. I only caught the last 10 minutes of the half, but can tell Uruguay are playing their hearts out, says Venster. And the benefit that they've got is they are playing in about 15 degrees less temperature than we saw teams last week. I'm surprised Namibia is such a bad team, having never won a World Cup game, says John. That's the thing. Up against Italy, they impressed me in the early stages. They just, unfortunately, did slow down. I think up against New Zealand early, it's going to be interesting. Any face rugby players from your town? Who we got? We've had a couple guys in the South Canterbury team, but I don't think anyone that I can think of recently that's gone on to big rugby things. You're the best, or the next best commentary announcer to the legend himself, Keith Quinn, says Cool Cake. Thank you very much, mate. Got Teros, says Vanessa there. Did I hear someone from the South African team won't be playing hurt? Was away all day working, no radio, says Dennis. So it is Malcolm Marks who's out, Dennis. So a massive hit to the South African squad. They haven't talked about who they're going to bring in yet. Some people thinking it's Pollard. Others thinking maybe Dweba or Evan Ruiz could be another player that they look out. And Marks is out, says Caitlin. Yeah, not ideal for the South Africans. I know at least 2 people in New Zealand, they have this thing on the TAB, which is like every try that your man scores, you get a bonus bet. I know at least 2 people who had Malcolm Marks. They're quite sad now because he didn't score a single try throughout the Rugby World Cup. We have got there, greetings from Berlin, says Stuart Moore, and Uruguay is doing very well, but they just lack execution. Hopefully they fix that. In the second half, rooting for Uruguay, says MIGP. And also, I don't want to get up for the ABs. I did last week and I regret that, says James, and his story's not international level yet, says Ghost Play. And I guess that's the thing. It's tricky for him because trying to play in the boots of the men that they've got into Mac. Also, playing last week there, they went with Jalabert, who I believe they'll go with in the game up against Italy. Yes, Dennis, Malcolm Marks is out. And also, we go there, what town are you from? Amish says, Richard, most people don't know it, mainly because it is so small, but it's halfway in between Christchurch and Dunedin. Smack bang in the middle. Kind of near Timaru, Oamaru, that kind of region as well. Kiwi slang, bit of a dog. Bob's your uncle's ankle biter. Naked, says Andre. And there, come on, commentate Uruguay into winning. I hope many French products, but the government, I love many French products, but the government not so much. Not much at all. Keep in mind the small pool Namibia have to work with, says Gert there. And also, sorry guys, but where can I watch? I'm in South Africa, so your option, Mazioli, hopefully I've said that correctly. I do apologise if I've got that slightly wrong. Super Sport is your best bet to be able to watch all these games in South Africa. It is a paid subscription service, unfortunately, but yeah, Super Sport. I'm very happy about that, rather than DSTV. Got it in the end. Why do I always get so nervous before Wales play? I'm Welsh, but still, says Joel. That's the thing. I feel like that game up against Portugal could be a bit intriguing. What is the name? Says Richard. So it is Waimati. Have you heard of it? It's very small. Very small. Greetings from South Africa. Just want to ask, what team do you support? Says Joe, we are completely impartial throughout this Rugby World Cup. I have got a French jersey on. Maybe this is what's jinxed them. The pressure of me having the French colours. Surely not. But if it was, I think people will want me to wear this when they get to the quarterfinals. Thanks, boss. No worries at all. We have got there the French being challenged hard by Uruguay. French need to up their game. And France didn't put a single impact player. We could say Waki, but he is off form. Most dangerous player in this French team is Malvaka in the bench. Very true. I'm looking through at the benches. We'll show you guys exactly who will be coming off the bench for France. It is going to be also... See, I'd say Thomas Ramos, X-Factor player. Maybe Cruz as well. But other than that, yeah, like you mentioned, just lacking a little bit of oomph in this game. Uruguay's bench, I'll be honest, I don't know the fellas, unfortunately. I don't know them as well as I would have liked to, but I'm hoping to see them play very well in the later stages of this game. And perhaps I'll be relatively late replacing the halfback in this one, Santiago Arata, mainly because he has been going pretty decently. Do you think Portugal can get out of the pool? I don't know about getting out of the pool, but I think they can cause an upset in Pool C somewhere along the lines. What do you think of the team AB's changed against Namibia? I think that they went with a side in terms of that forward pack that they probably should have, to a certain extent, in terms of the loose forward trio, gone within the game up against France. How many of these starting French started Six Nations? Maybe one. Says Gareth, although they're in that 33-man squad for the Rugby World Cup. Like I mentioned, 10 of these players, theoretically for France, did play in the last game up against New Zealand. So, yeah, they've only added half of the guys. The rest of them have already had Rugby World Cup experience. Ghost Player has got single there. Where's that come from? Have I missed a message? Just single, says Ghost Player. If the All Blacks lose another game, will they be out? Only if it is to Italy that they lose, or if Italy are then able to beat the All Blacks. I believe that would be enough to help boost them up. I'd like to see Hamish in a movie, leading male role sports commentary movie, says Ruth. I could pitch it to Sky, but I don't think they'd buy it, unfortunately. And we have got the your opinion. Who do you think will be playing in the final, says Joe Dupont. I believe that even with that injury of Malcolm Marx, they've still got a very good chance of making it far, South Africa. So I'd go South Africa and maybe Ireland at the moment. Quite like. We have got there Waimani had a famous Prime Minister that died of a sudden heart attack in 1972. Norman Kirk, certainly do. And that is why we have got a pool named after him. Fun fact. And hi, Hamish. Thanks for your commentary. Like and subscribe, folks. Says Russell in there as well. Will you and 2 Cents do a joint broadcast for the final? Probably not. We might do something involving the final in terms of some sort of collaboration video, but I've always found that doing live streams, definitely with live commentary, you're better off having the person next to you rather than doing it like across the internet, just because if you're at different points of the game and there's lag and everything like that, it can be very tricky to sync up. I'm happy Roy Gardner's playing on Saturday, says Kevin. We have got there with no offence meant to Namibia. The ABs need stiffer opposition. They are really to peak at this time, or really to peak in time. We have got the ABs will have a run of form just now, I think. An evening, bro, says Andrew from Wales. How's New Zealand Bakery? Do you frequent them? Says Andy. I've been to one bakery. We've got one down the road. Well, a little bit over, and it's like not bad, like it's all right overall. Like I've taken my mum there a few times when she finishes work, and she seems to like it quite a bit, so I'll trust her judgment. I like the fact that they got Fanta and it's in like real fancy bottles. Don't like the fact that they charge you like $3 extra because it's in a glass bottle though. Hamish, when did you start commentating? Probably like 3 years ago we started on the YouTube channel, but to be honest, like we haven't done any sort of commentary training. We just talk fast, talk with you guys in the chat as well, and that's kind of how we got here. I guess we've just been doing a lot of live streams. Are you doing the match tomorrow night? We certainly are. Just got a sub real quick. Do you do the commentaries for all of this World Cup? We are indeed. Every single match of the Rugby World Cup we will be covering on the channel. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Both of the sides now making their way out of the tunnels, ready to go for the skim 40 minutes. It is going to be Uruguay, who are kicking off from right to left. We have got there was home last year, nicer than the UK choice, bro. Live Fanta, the African shops, the original stuff, bro. Says, it was there from Andrew. Fafanua having a quick look up at the clock, realises that he's allowed back out on the field due to his yellow card. It's going to be an upset or a blowout, says Rudy. Well, those at the moment, I believe, are our 2 options. I think it's already going to be closer than what a lot of people anticipated, but I still see them getting over line. You keep saying we, who's behind the scenes, says Sean Lees. To be honest, really, like, in terms of the live streams, videos, everything like that, I do it all myself. We've got 3 other Kiwi lads who have been in the videos before, whether that is George, Isaac, or Daniel, although the last time we had any of those guys in a video or a live stream was probably about 3 months ago. But everything else that you see, the editing, the recording, the streaming, everything like that, is all myself. That's going to be kicked up high. But yeah, I always think of it as we, because at the end of the day, when we first started the channel, like we had all 4 of us in the videos. Although, I don't think we've got a single public video with all 4 of us in it at the moment on the channel. We have got there, I expect Uruguay to run out of steam before towards the end, says Sided. Kick down field from France, though. Now Uruguay just inside of their own half. Nice little step there from Bautista Bazo. The right hand side, beautiful run from Uruguay. The space opens up, and now thinking about the inside ball. 15 metres out from the line. This seems like Uruguay, once again, second half, they've come to start quickly. A big run forward from, it was, I think there was Savita. Now going off to the right-hand side. France need to try and get themselves a turnover at some stage. Very soon already a penalty advantage for Uruguay as well. Now back across to the right-hand side. Sling and pass. Ball is dropped. That's awesome, Hamish. I really enjoyed tuning in. Great job. See, Sean, thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated. Do you have a green tie ready for the South African game? If I had a green tie, unfortunately, you guys wouldn't be able to see it. My chest would become see-through, mainly because of the green screen. I had a green hoodie on with the hood that was green and it kind of completely disappeared. We have good there. Good to see Uruguay keeping the energy. Says it was there from Balimutha. And Ben Stokes scored more runs than New Zealand yesterday, says John, and what a start. Says, yes, certainly been aggressive early on. They have gone for the corner as well, but great flat pass in there from, I believe it was actually the fly half getting it off to Inciarte. And big shot coming in from France to defend it. Now going to the front, looking for this rolling ball. France joining it. Perfect timing. Taufa Fanua trying to get himself over the top of the rolling ball. France pushing it towards the sideline. It's going to be called as a maul, I believe. It's going to be very hard for Uruguay to get the ball out, but it's bounced out to Luku now, and France managed to get themselves the turnover. Kicking it downfield, clearing their lines. The ball will go into touch. Suddenly everyone becomes Chewbacca. Says, okay, and there, and thanks a lot for this commentary. I can't watch the game anywhere else, says Joe, and we are going to be covering every single game of the Rugby World Cup. Just trying to think whether or not I've ever tried to do a Chewbacca. It's all the, no, couldn't get the tongue roll going. At the time that I needed it the most, my throat let me down. Tongue? I don't know, one of the two. He said, Uruguay, very good, my friend. Said Traveller Man, thank you very much, mate. Now only about 35 metres out from the line. It's going to be Batista Bazo once again. They're going to go to the left-hand side. In fact, they turn right instead. Big leg drive. To the right. Echeverri finds the pass on the outside. He was very close to scoring himself the try in the first half. That will be the penalty this time to France. Player leaving his feet. Does my last name look familiar? I mean, it is the same as a great French halfback. Any relation, Joe? Do let me know. Oh, yeah, I've got the, I just say Uruguay consecutively. Says, okay. That feels much better. Just had a shower. Says, no mum in there. That kick. Ooh. Yep, it does go out. I was leaning as if that was going to help it stay in the field of play, but a good kick from Hastoi. And now again, they're in a good position on the field. No matter what team you send onto the field, you must win this. As the World Cup, no excuses, says Yazin. And Uruguay are getting some chances. They certainly are. They've been pushing France early on. And to be honest, I feel like the French coach will be looking at this going, boys, this shouldn't be happening. We should be doing a lot better than this. That's not straight from Uruguay. South Africa hire Nigel Owens. We didn't hear much about his impact, says Gareth. And also just joined house Uruguay comment. They're doing extremely well, Mark. They've been pushing France at time throughout this game. They've been struggling just a little bit more in terms of when the French are on attack. But I still think they're doing relatively well. We have got there, do you think Yabby's a fatigue bro, or they just are like stunned mullet? I think they're just not playing well at the moment is the best way of describing it. They just don't seem to be able to quite work out what they're trying to do out there on the field. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do in this game up against Namibia, though, because this backline, I think, might actually be relatively handy. I was trying to help other play by leaning. I like moving forward. Makes you run faster while gaming, says Caitlin. Exactly right. Or leaning when you've got the controller in your hand, so you're steering around the corners. Hit into the wall and you send yourself backwards, give yourself whiplash. It's a bit serious when you start doing that. I used to like those ones at the arcade that you used to sit on the bikes and lean, except I once leaned right off it and fell over. Quite sad, really. Nigel wasn't comfortable, by the way. Drew and Bongi were looking at him, licking their lips, says Marco. Yeah, agree, bro. Damien McKenzie may be good, says Andrew Neal there. As well, Nigel declined. And the Uruguay side look a fitter outfit than 4 years ago, says Flishin. Yeah, they would have come a long way in that short amount of time. Like I mentioned, they actually bet the Argentina XV quite predominantly, which I feel like is definitely a massive feather on their cap. That's the saying, isn't it? Something about feathers. That's going to be a knock-on from Uruguay. In the breakdown, once more, another scrum feed. Pressing the buttons make your attacks stronger, says Gareth. Not sure if we're family, but my family was originally from France. We're in South Africa now, says Joe Dupont. And also harder, says Gareth. And years ago, there was a French player called... he couldn't come all the games, though. Yep. I'm way too immature. I think I've realised that over the last little while. Andre G, to be born in the year, to have seen the footage, says John. And also 118 likes. Come on, hit the like button and subscribe. Costs nothing, says Andre. Yeah, hitting the like button and subscribing completely free, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. It is hugely appreciated you all being here for this live stream. We've got plenty more coming up in the near future. It's a loose ball now, nicely picked up there by Hastoy. Looking for the offload. Oh, it's loose, but it's going back for another penalty. Self-censoring for the win, says Caitlin there. And also ball protection, not great for Uruguay, and that is somewhere that has let them down a little bit, the ball security. Collapsing the scrum again. It's another penalty against Uruguay. I think that maybe we're one away from Sanguinetti getting himself yellow carded. Oh, yeah, there I could donate, but my account's still blocked. Oh, they've gone for the kick at the post here. That's pretty impressive. The fact that Uruguay have actually made it so that France need to kick for posts rather than kicking for the corner. This game all of a sudden makes me think that France aren't actually thinking about the bonus point here. They are thinking about winning it, which once again, a huge credit to Uruguay. Now that's an interesting call from France, says Venster. We have got there, they didn't have the right size balls, says Ruth. What are we talking about there? From the early one. I hope Uruguay, where'd that go? I hope Uruguay get one bonus point from this. They are a point short, says Andre. Shout out to me bro, Zach Bristow, one of the captains of the Rawini Ferry, the far north, please bro, says Andrew. So shout out to you, Zach Bristow. They have just missed a kick. That is slightly unfortunate. We have got there, yep, that joke was flaccid, so you're blushing there. Says Ocker, no, it's just surely it's the sunburn, right? From the other day. I don't think we could get sunburn at this time of the year, but yeah, I'm certainly more red than I'd normally be. Which I don't think is a bad thing, because I'm normally quite pale. Will South Africa win the World Cup without Marks? It's a great question, because he is such an X-Factor player. I think that they've still got the depth to be able to do so, but yeah, it's going to be relatively tricky. I think that you should I think I should give you a try. Says, right, well, thank you very much, mate. Hugely appreciated for your super sticker. It is the one unique one in terms of the fact that you actually get to write, I guess, what happens, even though you don't. Oh, it's set up. Villiers, the loose ball. He's scored the try for France. Oh, we have just heard the whistle. James Dolman and Ben O'Keefe just having a bit of a conversation here about whether or not the try will stand. They will go upstairs. He drew a bigger TV than I did. I only drew a little one because or else it wouldn't fit on the screen. I know, says Winston, Budgie Smuggler will win. Says okay. And I want Uruguay to score. Oh, they just want to check whether or not there's a knock-on here from Villiers. James Dolman, he made a face of a man who's not sure if there was a knock-on. Who could it have knocked on off? Okay, it hits the shoulder of Geelong. Now, what do we... Oh, it hits the bicep. What does that mean? That means no try, I think. The whole of your arm is a knock-on. So I believe that is going to be no try for the French. And not yet a try, says John, might be knocked on. And also we have got what's your take on the upcoming South African game against Romania. It's going to be interesting to see how they go with so many changes in their side. I don't think it's going to teach them a huge amount about whether those combinations work, though. I feel like they'll want to try them again up against tougher opposition. But, yeah, we'll be interested to see how it goes. That is for sure. We have got the yes, says Venster. Want an upset, not for your grouping, South Africa, says Goldberg. Time for the World Cup to set up a set-em where smaller world teams follow the big teams so they can play opener for the top teams, says Rudy. But I do see quite a few changes being made now for these two sides. We have at least 4 players that can sub for marks, says Joe Dupont. Not as good, though. Speaking of not as good, Uruguay, they still come in as $31 underdogs in this game to be able to walk away with the victory. They have decided to make 5 changes. What part of New Zealand do you live, famous bro? So I am in South Canterbury, just halfway in between Christchurch and Dunedin. But I'm only in a small town, so like we have, what were we talking about earlier on? Oh, I don't even know if we have a butcher's here. We have a supermarket that has meat, so I guess that's our butcher's in a way, but not a lot in here, but it's quite nice overall. It's relatively quiet. We've got some beautiful mountains just over there that we can actually see today, which is great. To be fair, Uruguay are like heroes, says Musto. And also we have got there, I want to see Romania 10 against the Bok. Yeah, he played absolutely brilliantly, Volvasa, in the last game. I smell an upset, 13 points to 15. And all the towns have butchers, says James McCarthy. I don't believe ours does, unless you count the supermarket. Because, yeah, other than that, we don't actually have one. I think we have like a part-time guy who sometimes like sells meat from a shed. Which is fun, I guess. Not for the animals he sells, but yeah, he got a business going every once in a while. I think he shows up like once a week and says, hey, you want my sausage? I always decline. Now it's nice kicking behind for France to run on to that one. Look who. We're going to go to the left-hand side. Big hit. Coming on a shallow row. Do you have more than one pub? We did, but now I think we've only got one. Shed meats. That's great. Yeah, we might. Oh, there's one main one, and then we've got like a kind of more like town and country club type thing as the other one. So I'd say we've got one pub, but you can get alcohol from 2 other places. That sounds shady, says Rudy. Can you walk up those mountains in your town, average bro? Also, can you go hunting up there as well? I don't think you can go hunting at that one. But the mountains over that way you can. But yeah, you can climb them. Me and George decided to climb one ages ago, but I got tired because I had been up for about 24 hours. That sounds dodgy. That guy selling meat from a shed, says Dennis. Nicely thrown to the back there for Uruguay. And they look to get their rolling maul forming. Again, 15 metres out from the line. Shallow row. Going through the middle, trying to shut the ball down. And it is available now for Uruguay at the back. If they score now, they are right back into this contest, ladies and gentlemen. Now around the side of the breakdown once more. It is going to be the try scorer, the man who made it happen in the first half, Freitas. Tackle was made, Brilliant, trying to do everything he can to get that turnover in the breakdown. Now Uruguay. 28 minutes remaining. They will pass it across field, running straight through for the corner. The try for Uruguay. They are back in the contest once more. Well, Uruguay pressuring, so some positive intent, says John, and they've just scored themselves another try here, Uruguay, with 28 minutes to go. The boys are back in town, as the song says. Uruguay Numas. And also, awesome bro, wicked Richie McCaw country, says... It was there from Andrew Neal. And also we have got there Grant Williams on the wing for South Africa. Will be interesting, says Joe Dupont. Hey, you want my sausage title of famous sex tape? Lovely. And if yes, says Mur. And also we have got there Beauty Grunter. Says Kerno can get in Uruguay. Says Grant. So that will be Amaya who has scored the try for Uruguay there. Someone please do something that is stuck. Get the scoreboard moving. And the Uruguayans, they must have heard you because they have now got themselves back into the game. The French crowd are almost in a stunned silence here because this is the last thing that they were expecting. I believe it was the last thing that 95%, if not 99%, were expecting for this game. Uruguay now up against France are $13 underdogs. That is the closest that they have probably ever been in the underdog department. The ball has gone over the post for the successful conversion. 13 points to 12, ladies and gentlemen. Could we be on the edge of history here? Still plenty of time remaining though, of course. But so far, France, they haven't been able to find their rhythm in this game. A nice one, Uruguay kick it now. And also we have got there, come on Uruguay, says George. And this could be the biggest upset on Rugby World Cup history. Yeah, they came in as $61 underdogs at the start of this game, I believe. Oh, he's kicked it into his own player. That is a massive mistake from Uruguay. Peter Mavaka cleans it up. Scores the try now at the other end of the field. And just like that, France go, no, stop it. This isn't happening. And it's another try for the French. Peter Mavaka, he's been on the field for 2 minutes and has just scored the try. Oh, we have got there losing confidence in France winning the World Cup with every game I watch, unfortunately, says Dead Tune. 17 versus 12, 2 in the rankings, France are in, says John, they certainly are. And that was not a good kick, says Venster. And that's a bit of an anticlimax, exactly right. The fact that they got back into the match just to have it taken away from them just afterwards, kicked it into his own player's ribcage there. Unfortunately, the kick from Echeverri went straight into Tavita, and then Pietro Malvaca gets onto the ball, drives over the big man, sort of restarts, says Finton. And also we have got there, that's had to be the weakest French starting side out of the 33, says Gareth. And also, and they are regretting it, scavenged a try from a very poor kick, says Cited. Yeah, a bit of luck going the way of Les Bleus there. This kick has to go over, though, from Ramos. In fact, sorry, it's Melvin Jaminet who will be kicking this one. Let go a bet real quick, says Dead Tune, although I think they were $13. Now they'll be a lot higher than that bet. Oh, actually, to be fair, they're only $18 now. So I think the TAB are starting to realise that there's a good chance that Uruguay, if they can get themselves one more try, they could get back into the contest. But yeah, I can't believe the difference between Uruguay in this game to what a lot of people expected to what we've been able to see. And France need to wake up if they want to win. They were a bit excited there, I believe. Did you play yourself, bro? I'm guessing winger fullback, says Andrew Neil. Neil, I was out on the wing, yes. Although it was a long time ago. I used to be a lot quicker than I am now. I'm quite slow, unfortunately. But yeah, I was out on the wing. The backs never passed the ball out wide because the 9 and 10 were the coach's sons. And yeah, we didn't get the ball. That was a 50-22 attempt there. I believe that is going to be another mistake from Uruguay. But they're going back for a French penalty. If France play with a leaky defence like this against Ireland or South Africa, they'll be out. I love you, bro. Says Joe DePaul. Thank you very much, mate. Usually appreciate you being here for these games. It is an early morning start for us here in New Zealand, or a late night finish for myself, seeing as I have been going off in Northern Hemisphere time zone for the past about 3 or 4 days. I've been sleeping during the day, working during the night. They've chosen the scrum from the kick, which does mean now that France are going to be in a very good position. If Uruguay can start to see the end, they can pull this back, I hope, says George. France don't have this game won yet, playing poor. And also check the score, mate. Says Johan, it is currently sitting 20 points to 12. At the moment, Malcolm Marx out is a massive blow, but it opens up the door for Andre Pollard. It does. It's a weird scenario, isn't it? Because we assumed that Andre Pollard wouldn't be returning for this World Cup, but then there was also that part in the back of everyone's mind saying maybe he could. The thing is, I'm not sure if they'll go with him, or maybe because Marco van Staden's covering hooker, they might actually go with someone like an Evan Ruiz or a Jean-Luc Dupré as the other man. You're right, Hamish, I was expecting a similar score to Ireland versus Romania. It's good to see Uruguay putting in a shift. Says Brian. We have got there, did you ever yell, pass me the damn ball? Yes. But the problem was, if you went in off your wing to try and help them, because they always lost the ball because they didn't pass and the opposition worked that out, would steal the ball. So if you went in off your wing, you got yelled at for going off your wing, and you had to go back out there and sit there while they kept losing the ball. So I was pretty much just tackling throughout the early years of my rugby career. I don't think Pollard should be the replacement, says Rudy. And also, we're going to know what is Uruguay to score soon. And well, it's only 4 p.m. where I'm at. So you're like 15 hours ahead, says John. Yeah, we are currently sitting at 8:24 a.m. New Zealand time. But I have been up since about 7 p.m. last night. So I've been doing a bit of a reverse day for this weekend. Try and keep me wide awake for the rest of the live streams of the weekend. Now, Luku, big scrum from France. They'll get themselves another penalty advantage. Now, they still need 2 tries to walk away from this game with a bonus point. It's gone into touch. Good kicking behind. We have got there, no Hamish if it's not a hooker. It's Pollard for sure, says Burning Lash. Although they've talked about Mako van Staden as a hooker replacement. He's actually been practicing hooker for the last little while. So they're talking about him actually coming in as a hooker rather than bringing in an actual hooker, which is an interesting choice. I feel like it's very risky though. And it's currently 10:24 in South Africa, says Siabonga. And also, well, 16 hours ahead, says John. Marks will be replaced by Herschel Yankees, 5 scrum halves, baby, says Grant there as well. But the possession currently 57% in favour of France, which is nowhere near as high as people were anticipating. First half, you were 7 minutes behind. Now it's 16 minutes behind, says GR Dublin there. Now, Pito Malvaka starting to drive his way towards the try line. This is a good rolling maul for Les Bleus. It is well shut down by Uruguay, but they do have to release. Although I think that ball's ended up actually rolling into that breakdown, and because of it, Uruguay managed to get themselves another scrum feed. We have got there, it's currently 5:25 in Chile. Says Ocker, no matter the scoreline, I think Uruguay have won, says Venster. How can you time in South Africa unless your clock has a battery? Have no power, says Gareth. I mean, your phone keeps track of time automatically though, doesn't it? Once you tell it what time zones you're in, you don't actually need power for it to know what time it is. Like, you can turn off your Wi-Fi and whatnot and still you'll be able to know the time. It's quite fancy these days. Uruguay, I look more together, says Roof. No matter the scoreline, I think Uruguay have won, says Vincent. Yeah, it would be absolutely awesome to see them walk away from this game with a bonus point for being within 7, because, to be honest, they've earned it in this contest. They have had some brilliant moments. Load shedding in South Africa, says Sky Capital. Bringing a hooker is never a good idea, says Rudy. Depends how lonely you are. No, never mind, forget that statement. But now, ball being fed in for Uruguay. And it's a penalty this time to France again. Fletcher needs the starting XV for that match. Well, appreciate the effort you put into these live streams, bro, says Joe Dupont. We are going to be here all throughout the Rugby Championship, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Some people caught that little one that I threw in there. That pitch is destroyed. That was pitch with a P. But a whole chunk coming out of the turf, looking rough. I'm very proud of Uruguay. I hope more Tier 1 teams would allow us to play test matches. This truly make us better. Also, we can't forget about Argentina's partnership in our growth. I thought the French would be better than this, says Greaves. And also, we have got there Uruguay's replacement forwards are struggling, unfortunately, definitely a step below the starters. The pitch doesn't seem to be in the best of shape. And also, we have got there, did you see the state of the pitch? All cutting up, says Dennis. Yeah, big holes being formed by the scrummages. Oh, we have got as well penalties letting Uruguay down. Yeah, scrum time throughout this game has been a tricky part of their game. What is South Africa chance of winning the World Cup without Malcolm Mark? Still very high at the moment with the side that they have got. There was a bit of an early push there from France. Probably lucky to not get penalised. Tier 2 teams need more funding, not going to lie. World Rugby can really use the money better, says Siabonga. The ref is utterly ridiculous. I've never seen something like this. What is this ref issue? Can't blow this game fairly. He's making a 10,000 referee mistake in 10 minutes, says Johan. But every time we ask you, Johan, what mistakes you think he's made, you don't answer. So I need to know, is it the scrums that you're not happy with? Is it well, really, scrum penalties are about the only ones that we've been having, isn't it? So are you not happy with the scrum penalties being blown, I guess, against Uruguay? I think, maybe? Go on there, game. Says Blues Nate. Well, it depends on your situation, but no. Is always a good idea, says Fleshin. Now scrum feed again. Hello guys from South Africa, says Andreas. Welcome in, mate. Doing very well, France. Looking to drive. It's gone down again in the front row, but the penalty goes to Uruguay. How you feel about that one, Johan? Good work from the front row just to be safe. With Fozzie, anything possible? Thank you for saying that, Hamish. Says Mornay. French are not scrummaging well. And biased towards tier 2, I guess, says John in there as well. And South African flags from Rudy. Jabba, 13. No, sorry, that's not math. 17 minutes remaining now. If Uruguay can score themselves 2 more tries in this game, they can walk away with 5 points. That would be massive for them, but they don't need 2 tries. They just need 1 try converted and something, and they will walk away with the victory in this game. It's certainly a lot closer than a lot of people anticipated. It's going to be now Kuyu making his way out onto the field. What do you think of Ireland holding the World Cup anytime soon? Says Dennis, I think if they're ever going to do it, it's this year. And then maybe as we get further into the future with those young players that they've got coming through the rankings now. But this is their best chance, I think, in a very long time to walk away with a World Cup. That's not saying it's going to happen. That's just saying it's a good possibility. Nice backline there for Uruguay. Staying just in the field of play. Looks like their player out on the wing did take a bit of a knock. Now, little chipper behind attempted. They'll go back for another penalty in favour of Uruguay. Come on, people, give this man the likes he deserves. Says says Joe, and definitely an early push. Well done, Uruguay, says Brian. Just woke up from work. Has the game actually been good? Worth a watch back? I would say yes, if you don't mind scrum penalties. We're seeing quite a few of those, but that is just because of the mismatch that we've got. But overall, Uruguay have looked like a very strong side in this game. So I would recommend rewatching if you do get that chance. I honestly think this World Cup final will be France versus South Africa. Your thoughts, says Andreas? I'll be completely honest, from what we've seen of the French in this game, I know it sounds harsh, but I would almost say that I feel like it's opened up the door for maybe Ireland versus South Africa as a final or something along those lines. First, it's try being denied for Uruguay. What decision was that? A fair one, because the man did run and infringed on a defending player, so that is no try every day of the week, but yep. From all their wrong decisions made against the Uruguayans, I live in South Africa, I'm a Bok, but I see the unfairness, says Johan. I'd actually say that it's probably been a decent game refereeing-wise compared to how he could have refereed the scrums. Overall, like the fact that Uruguay have received about 4 or 5 penalties in their favour is pretty handy for the way it's been going. But yeah, that disallowed scrum, or the disallowed try, was because he did end up blocking the French player from making his way across. If he was on the inside, it would have been fine, but because he was on the outside, it means that it is a penalty, as the law book states, is the only thing there. Event stage in the World Cup, says Dennis there, and go Uruguay, woo, from Ric Flair in the chat as well. Styling, profiling, limousine riding, jet plane flying, son of a gun. That's going to be knocked out of the hands of Uruguay. Come on, France, says Alexander Evans. Go Uruguay, says Reinhard, and the penalty this time goes the way of Uruguay once more. This ref is utterly outrageous. He's just given Uruguay... Wait, are you saying that Uruguay are getting too many penalties, Johan? No, because you were against them, or you wanted them to get that try, the disallow one. I'm confused. Like, Uruguay have got quite a few penalties in this game. They have now kicked it into the corner as well. Do you think, or who do you think is going to win this World Cup? I still feel like South Africa are right up there at the moment in terms of favourites. What's happening, guys? There's Stefan and Uruguay in their own half. They are currently about 10 metres out from the French line. And they've got themselves a great opportunity of going towards another chance at a try. Johannes drunk. He's cited. Now ball being thrown in. The South African flag there from Caitlin. Oh, they're close to the touchline now. And no ways, says Stefan. The ball's been dropped, though. It is a knock-on from Uruguay at the rolling maul. That may have been their big chance to get back into the contest. Number 19's pants have been pulled down, unfortunately for him. We have got there as well. Yeah, box, says Reinhardt. And also, come on, Uruguay, says Mornay. It's just these little half chances, unfortunately, for Uruguay that have been costing them. The fact that it's this close, says Stefan. I won't read anything into this as far as France are concerned. The only need is for the win Just delighted they only need to win, and I'm just delighted for Uruguay. I think there are lots of little Uruguayan boys. I want to try rugby now. Ref is being fair, blowing accurately, says Burning Lash. Yeah, I think I've only seen one person disagree with the refereeing throughout this game. I think we all know who that was. But, yeah. Our Ireland to win the World Cup, says Bevan. South Africa doesn't have depth. We have scrum halves, says Andreas. Is this like a French C team, and what's happening? Honestly, it's not that bad of a French lineup. Like, yes, they've got a few players who wouldn't normally get a huge amount of game time. But overall, like, it's still a very solid team that should have been able to do better in this game. But Uruguay are just making it tricky for them. The handling mistakes will cost them. They need to hold on to it. Ball protection, boys, evidently pants protection was also not up to scratch. Oh, yeah, I've got there Andreas Russo. That's also true. It's kicked downfield. Brilliant kick from France after the scrum did go the way of the French once again. And Fuff to cover Malcolm Marks, I think that is from Sky Capital. Who do you support this World Cup? I mean, I am being completely impartial throughout this whole Rugby World Cup just to make it a lot more entertaining for you guys, depending on who you go for. I have my teams that I think will do better. That is slapped back by Uruguay now, and they are back in position. Another knock on there. Territory and position at the moment, says Stefan. I believe that the territory or the position earlier on when we saw it about 10 minutes ago was France was sitting 57% position, so they might be about 59 now. Territory-wise, I still feel like France have the edge, maybe about 58%. Those are only guesses, though. In fact, I can get them up to see the exact ones. One moment. This one, and this one. This. And there we go. When did you start YouTube, says Reinhardt? We did start about 3 years ago. Somewhere around there, I believe it was. But it's a good kick for the corner now from the French. And Uruguay, just because they were that little bit offside, hurts them big time. So the stats, territory whole game is actually 53% in favour of France, and then 54% whole game. So it has gone down just a little bit since earlier on. Come on, France, your ref is helping you nicely. Uruguay is playing 16 men, says Johan. You're literally the only person who has complained about the ref this whole game, Johan. So I feel like maybe it might not be so much the referee, but maybe your interpretation of the law book that might be the problem. Just to say it nicely. Wait till France play Ireland, and if they play like this, the Ireland will give them father of a beating. Says Dennis, and damn, Uruguay sounds the pressure is a bit too much, says Stefania. Unfortunately, just the handling errors are hurting them, although this time it was a handling error from France. Johan is, says Sia Bunga. And damn it, Uruguay. Oh no, I read that one. I'm not sure if it's the same game with Dupont, Jalibert, and Pinot playing, says Fleshin. And also Wales are better than France, says Alexander Evans. Seen 5 handling errors so far from Uruguay, 4 handling errors from the French. Springboks going to give them all a beating, says Miss C. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting game up against the Romanians. See, we've seen 15 penalties against Uruguay and 11 against France. So I would say in no way, shape or form has that been one-sided refereeing. Can we all, except for Johan, agree on that? That it's been relatively 50-50? A nice run from Uruguay. Just, another knock-on. See, that is the thing that's hurting the Bismarck is on the plane. Says Sky Capital. Sly move ball says, okay. And there as well. But now, Arthur Vincent, Uruguay is doing really good, says Miss C. Yeah, they've been thoroughly impressive throughout this game. I love it if we could stay within one score, says Stefan. Now another offload there from Peter Malvaca. Rida Wardi, ball stripped from him. It's gone backwards, and Uruguay managed to get themselves that ball back. The ref has had a good game, says Fleshin. It's a fair play ref game, ref doing fine, says Dennis there. You look like Intermac or Ramos from France. I feel like that's a huge compliment, because I feel like they're both probably decent enough looking fellas. And probably, I'm definitely not in the same shape as them. I think I probably have one muscle across my whole body. Not literally the full length, but just in terms of that is actually there. It feels like more than 5 handling errors for Uruguay. Okay, the ref is being very balanced, says Brian. And Uruguay giving France a score. And also we have got there, it's only been one good game for Wales and one below average game for France. And John Smith already in France, says Sky Capital. Tackles made, 72. Uruguay only missing 9. France have actually missed almost double the tackles that Uruguay have had. And what half are they in? They are just on the 22-metre line in Uruguay's territory. We have got there as well. The French are my forefathers, but I want them to come back to earth, says Johan. But in this case, like, I don't think the referee has helped them in the regard in terms of winning this game. I think it's been more the fact that they were able to take that chance. But, yeah, overall the penalty count pretty even. You only really need one muscle. Is okay. What muscle is that? Probably is the brain a muscle or an organ? There we go. That's a question for everyone in the chat. Without Googling, let's test out your biology. Brain, muscle or organ? Do let me know. Jensen, what half are they in right now? So currently still on the 22 line inside of Uruguay's half. If you're talking about, are you talking half as in like first or second half? It is in the second half. Organ, hard as a muscle. Says Mikhail there. Here we go. And organ says Gus and Steven. Organ surely says George. Organ says Caitlin. Can you shout me out, please? Says Alexander. Shout out to you. You guys are smart. Oh, nice ball. Short. Who needs like Google when you can just ask the chat? And Muscle because some don't have a brain, says Guy. And Muscle says Guju there. And I was like, yes, says Simon Hughes. Now, nice run again from France. Starting to drive just that little bit closer to the line in the form of Francois Cruz. Pass back. Arthur Vincent out wide. And it's going to be the youngster, Louis Belbari, who does score the try. Ref has a lot to do with it. If it was against the box, this ref would kill the box, says Johan. Although you'd have to also take into consideration that the Springboks, in terms of that scrum, we wouldn't see the same amount of dominance if, let's say, this was Springboks versus Ireland, as we have seen between France and Uruguay. And Uruguay press the world tonight. Doesn't matter if they win or lose, says Joe. And we also got there, well, it only took 73 minutes, but that's the game, says Vince. And try France, says John. The thing here is, I really hope, I know that this sounds harsh on France, but I really hope that Uruguay can stop them from scoring in the next 7 minutes, just because I don't feel like Uruguay deserve to concede the 5 points on the table here. We've got their Villiers scores, thanks goodness. I was sweating my fantasy team score. Unfortunately, it was the other winger, Louis Belbari. So, yeah, didn't quite add to Villiers just yet. The Springboks going to beat them all, says Miss C, and France deserve that, says Gus. We have got there, it's the G in my name. It's hard, by the way. So is it Gugu? Is that correct? An organ that controls the muscle, says Dirk. So yeah, quite an important organ, some would say. That is a fantastic kick from near the touchline and now making the score 27 points to 12. Who's the organ player? Well, I know a joke, but I will not say it. But now, 6 minutes remaining. Do you think Bismarck Duplessis could be a good replacement? He'd be handy if they want to get a yellow or a red card. But I don't know whether or not his discipline will hurt him in that regard. And how's the weather? Says Jacques, it's about 15 degrees, so it's a lot nicer than it was last week. We have got there any ever heard of the headless people? Says okay, not that I know of. They probably haven't heard of us though, because they don't have ears. Is that offensive? I don't think that's offensive, because like no one out there who doesn't have a head is like, oh, I'm offended by that because I don't have a head. Yes, that was better, thank you, says Gugu. And also we have got there another penalty going the way of Uruguay. I should mention, what's your take on France's favourites tag after this match, says Alex? I think they'll be slightly dwindled. Just a little bit. Of course, there'll be a few changes for France in their upcoming games as well, but this will be something that hurts them to a certain extent because they were expected to win this game by a huge margin and they've gone out there and they may struggle to get themselves a bonus point. We have got there, Hamish is still awesome and fabulous, the best of the best. Kick-ass commentary, says Ruth. And now it's going to be stolen by France again, just out from their own try line. Big run forward from Francois Cruz. Almost, yes, stolen by Uruguay. If the chat hasn't offended people, your comment won't. True. Yeah, the chat are pretty good at, I guess, pushing the line, the best way of describing it. Rugby's weird sometimes. You can have a bad off day sometimes, says Eldon. I know there's a man sports, says Joe. And also, I almost read out a few more messages in the chat, but now Uruguay still on attack, although Sekou Makalu gets through the middle, getting those pistons pumping. He does it for Stade Francais all the time. And now Sekou Makalu scores the try. That will be France's bonus point, ladies and gentlemen. Bonus point for France, says Dublin. And also we have got there, my favourite player of all time is Danny Gerber, Springbok centre. And who's your favourite player? I actually struggle to pick my favourite at the moment. There's so many players from different teams that I do like. I give up Uruguay's dead. I was taking some chances about. I waited for my country, South Africa, the Springbok. And yeah, they are going to be just around the corner. We will be covering that game on the channel as well. They are just checking this one to see whether or not it is going to be a legitimate try. And bonus try, says Nate, minus Andre Pollard. Very good player to have. And well done, Uruguay, says Rufan in there as well. And that's why you have to make your tackles against France. So it was more that counter ruck from Sekou Makalu. They're just trying to check this one. Counter ruck. I think that's going to be play on. He's clean through. Kicks it forward. He is then able to go after it. He picks it up. Okay, Dolman's having a bit of a chat there with Ben O'Keefe about something here. I think it's whether or not... Oh. Disallowed try back for the penalty. Okay, so the comment there from Ben O'Keefe, it's a disallowed try, and he's explained it in a way that I feel like I will also have to describe it, or else people will be very angry about that being no try. So the reason that they've said it's a no try is because Sekou Makalu has kicked it out of the breakdown rather than picking it up and then kicking it forward, if that makes sense. Because he's counter-rucked. As a player who's counter-rucked, your job is to pick that ball up. Then he kicks it through. So because he has kicked it out of what is considered the breakdown, it's like as a defender, how if you're next to the breakdown, if you kick it out, then you're not actually allowed to do so. So the crowd are not happy about it. But, yeah, we'll see it one more time. So as long as this ball is still in that breakdown... Okay, Carlton Nana feels that it should have been a try. Okay, yes, see the aim is definitely no try. Says Brian and France are the best. Says Ethan Leroux, although the French have been able to take the ball back now, so still another chance of being able to bring up that bonus try. We have got their accidental versus on purpose. Yeah, I don't think he meant to do so, but it just ended up, unfortunately, they counter-rucked that easily that there was just too much space to be able to run through almost. And France have a good pack, says Alexander Evans. They certainly do. We will defend the trophy. It will stay in South Africa, says Massioli. And go Uruguay, says Reinhardt. 3 minutes remaining now on the clock, ladies and gentlemen. The conspiracies will say it's because O'Keefe is a Kiwi, says Venster. I wonder what Johan would have said about that one, whether he would have gone try or no try. And Faircourt says Burning Lash. And what a comeback, France, says Andre there. And French Connection says Roof now slung back across to the left-hand side. Uruguay, still a chance here. France, they need one more try to get themselves the bonus point. Fitness the difference, says Jacques. I think fitness has certainly helped, but the other thing that's helped France is less handling errors. And Springbok has taken the cup back, says Renat. Why is the chicken on the France jersey so big? I don't know. And it's a rooster, so maybe they're trying to make like a pun about something else, saying that they've got big No, never mind. I got a rooster on mine too for the Rugby League World Cup. It's not quite the right competition, but I got this jersey for $9, so I feel like quite the baller. Well, third try denied, says Andre. Two try opportunities missed, says Stefan. And your heart's passed out now, says Caitlin. Passed out from the stress, I'd say, of this matchup. Now Uruguay, one last chance. So far, 16 penalties against Uruguay and 14 against the French here. That's going to be the dumbest rule I've heard so far, says Joe. Yeah, it's one of those unfortunate rules that circumstantially it can change from ruck to ruck. Roosters because look big because you have small cockatrill, says Gareth, and Rooster says Dennis. It's gone over the top, another steal for the French. It's going to be kicked down the middle of the field. Sikil Makalu, a little bit slow getting up to his feet there. Wonderful, entertaining. Thanks, Hamish. See, here's a roof. Big run forward now for the Uruguay number 14, Bautista Bazo. And they get over the line one more time. Uruguay, they've already done it twice. Now around the breakdown. Ooh, it's a big shot on him. He's been crushed. This Kiwi refs as a rip-off. We want the refunds. Says Blues Nate. Now another missed pass opportunity for Uruguay. 1 minute now left on the clock. Johan passed out from that course, says Joe. Good hands from Uruguay again. Hanging on to this one, Santiago Civetta. Now to the right. Nice step coming in again from Ajo. Come on, lads, says Stefan. Advantage now to Uruguay. That might be the last play of the day now, depending on how Uruguay close out this one. Big shot coming in there, though. Driven backwards towards their own halfway line. The dumb sprawl is getting Carter going for intercepts if you don't quite get it, says Rick Flair. Ooh. And also the French are too loose today. Okay, I can't read that part, John. Keith's just said to France, we'll give you a yellow card if it continues. We've got 15 seconds remaining in the game. So I don't think that will come into tuition. Let's go some Vamos last try wins, says the Blues. Now, if Uruguay had less mistakes with the ball, they could have got more tries, says Gugu. Exactly right. I feel like Uruguay will look at this game, see it as a slightly missed opportunity, but still look at it as a game that they've played very well in compared to what people were expecting. France almost got there with the kick, says Miss C, and very underwhelming from France. They just don't know how to play running rugby, says Jordan. I didn't see much of the game. Do you think the ref was unbiased? I think the referee's had a pretty solid game overall. It's been a hard one to ref because of so many scrums taking place back and forth, but I still think it's relatively even pickings, and I think there's been about 30 penalties between these two sides and pretty much 50-50 in that regard. Big shot coming in at the kneecaps. Can Uruguay get themselves the last try of this game? They don't actually need to in terms of the points differential. It wouldn't prove anything for them other than just saying, we've got one more left in the gas tank. And back across to the right, Argentina. I don't know why I said them. France. They will be looking to get the turnover here in the closing moments of the game. Another flat pass to the skipper. It's being knocked on and kicked back in favour of France. Ball is loose. It's a double knock on. And that'll be the end of the game, ladies and gentlemen. 27 points to 12. It is a French win. They win it by 15, but they will not receive the bonus point. And the escape for us was okay with no major issues to pressure. And greetings from South Africa. This was a shocker, says Brandon Slater. Good game, thank you, Hamish, says to meet him. Thanks, Hamish, great commentary, says Brian. And also, well, it's good games, don't end 100-0 like the Rugby League World Cup, says John. And also, we have got there, even if it was a Kiwi, so you know it was bent, says Garen. Cheers, mate, see you tomorrow, says Jason. So, ladies and gentlemen, we will be doing the next game that has taken place, as well as every round of the Rugby World Cup. So, the games to look forward to over this weekend, they will be as follows. We have got the match between New Zealand and Namibia tomorrow. We will be covering that one on the channel, so be sure, if you haven't already, to hit that subscribe button. It's completely free to do, and you will get notified when we do upload Samoa versus Chile, their first game of the Rugby World Cup with the Samoans, Wales versus Portugal, as well as Ireland versus Tonga, all taking place back to back to back. And we are covering all three of them. South Africa versus Romania. That will be the 1 a.m. game taking place on Monday morning New Zealand time. Now, if you are in South Africa, that will be 3 p.m. in the afternoon on Sunday. We will be here live doing that game as well. Australia versus Fiji, England versus Japan. Those are all of the games that are taking place for this round of the Rugby World Cup. Still plenty more excitement just around the corner, but we do appreciate every single one of you for being here. We have had a huge amount of support throughout this live stream. Hasn't started yet, says Brett. It certainly has, and the game just came to an end. Just say Thompson. I know it's hard to pronounce my name, but I can't wait to slice Romania, says Thompson. And there's other things for the stream. Just wish Uruguay got some points out of it, says Venster. And also we have got there, thank you, my commentator, says Thompson. No worries at all. And also excellent, Hamish. See you tomorrow, says John. And see you tomorrow, says Brian. And there as well. Entertaining game and comments. Worth the late night, says Caitlin. Yeah, because you guys are almost sitting 11 p.m. in South Africa, if I'm not wrong. So, yeah, a couple later night fixtures tomorrow night. It is the same, Namibia versus the All Blacks. So anyone who is keen for a late night game, be sure to pop in and have a bit of a chat all about it. I'm so offended. How dare you, says Stephen in there. What did I say? About the maybe not to me. Or was it to me? Maybe? Did I get in trouble? And also 10:55 p.m. in South Africa. And correct, says Caitlin in there as well. We have got there in the chat, I bet Johan did a moment about Matthew Carley in the ABs versus South Africa game, or when he was, of course, refereeing Wales versus Fiji. But yeah, entertaining game. Overall, yes, we had 30 penalties throughout it, but to be honest, it didn't feel like a 30 penalty game, if that makes sense, because a lot of them were coming at scrum time due to the drop balls and a few of the resets that we had. Like, it was pretty free-flowing. And France, you know, they would have liked to walk away with a lot more than they did. Villiers is the man who had man of the match performance. It's a really nice day outside at the moment. I'm kind of glad that I got to stay out right throughout the night. Get to see the sun rise, even though it's already rose. It's up in the sky now. But we will be back tomorrow night with the All Blacks versus Namibia, ladies and gentlemen. So if you are new, be sure to hit that subscribe button. But thank you all very much for tuning in. Do you have predictions for the next few games? Says Gugu for the All Blacks versus Namibia. I think I went heavily in favour of the ABs by around that 60 to 70 points. Although from what I saw in Namibia's first game up against Italy, I would say that it's going to be a little bit closer overall. For the game after that, I believe it is Samoa versus Chile. I am backing the Samoans to win that one. Portugal versus Wales. I want it to be really close. Maybe even the Portuguese get an upset. Just kidding. I know we've got Fleshin in the chat who was a Welshman, but would be kind of nice, wouldn't it? And yeah, we'll wait and see whether or not it is the case. And then Ireland versus Tonga. I think Ireland will take it, but hopefully it's a close game as well, so that we get a few thrillers coming down to the wire for this Rugby World Cup. But thank you all very much for tuning in, and I will see you all tomorrow. All Blacks versus Namibia. Also, a few other games taking place over the weekend. Will Japan beat England? I think that game, as well as Fiji versus Australia, are the two that are going to be the most heavily contested. And to be honest, this game, it was a lot closer than a lot of people thought that it would be. So great performance from Uruguay for their first one. Thanks a lot for your commentary. See you tomorrow, my man, says Joe. No, says Fleshin in there as well. Only just for fun, you know. Fleshin, if they lost, just to make them work harder throughout the rest of the group, eh? And woo! From Ric Flair in the chat as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. I will see you all for the next one.